If you want to get naked with a woman, it's your responsibility to take care of her.
The Sartorial Shooter, aka Joule Sullivan, is a former Australian soldier turned security professional turned tailor. He became well known due to being Andrew Tate's right-hand man, and he speaks to self-betterment, positive masculinity and faith.
The misconceptions about Islam are staggering. I love this job. My job is making my brothers look amazing.
I know.
I would respect people who've built businesses, raised families, been on adventures around the world, faced struggle, more than someone who just bought a JPEG of an ape and they think they're special. Man submits to God, and we act accountable every day. Woman submits to man. She is the co-pilot through life. The tech companies have spent billions on how to control people's minds and get that dopamine addiction, even in the youth.
Big J.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Good to see you, mate.
Good seeing you.
My brother.
Just a couple of Aussies in Kanduras.
I love it. You've got the Kuwaiti style collar. I've got the Emirati finish representing.
What's that? The rope that comes down with the Emirati one.
Yeah, indeed. That's something that I can't actually figure out how to wear properly, because for me it just sort of gets in the way. Whereas I understand that it's classy and it's refined.
Yeah.
But it's not for me. I've accepted that.
Really?
I'm Emirati by choice. I believe I identify as being from here because I've been here 15 years.
Yeah.
But I'm still Aussie at the end of the day in many ways. And it's like wearing a tie. And I was corporate for so long.
Yeah.
I don't want to wear ties, bro. You know what I mean? I don't like it. So.
Yeah. Well, it's like a noose, isn't it? It's like a noose to the corporation. Isn't that what a tie is? A noose
Interesting.
to the corporation.
Interesting. Yeah, indeed. I believe that.
I heard, by the way, I heard that rope thing is when Emiratis back in the day used to eat in when they go camping, when they had tents and everything, they would use it to swat away flies. I'm not sure. That could be a rumor.
Interesting. Well, I've actually lined up a reel with a really close Emirati brother of mine, and we're going to go into real detail about how to wear the gutra properly, what to consider when ordering kandura. I want to really break down how foreigners can respectfully and authentically, accurately dress in Emirati style, because more and more people are seeing that, especially in the summer, this is the way to dress.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable, especially if you're Muslim and you're praying, it just makes it easier.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about showing your aura if your shirt comes up, when you're in sujood.
Yeah.
It's a cool, refined, almost regal way to dress. And as long as you're doing it respectfully and with good intent, I think it's a fantastic thing. And I want to see more and more, especially brothers who've come over here to live, adopt that as a choice within their wardrobe.
Yeah. No, 100%. I love it. It's so comfortable. I just haven't mastered the underwear.
Ah, yes. You need this. I have it now, otherwise it's a bit see-through with the white.
Yeah.
It's almost like an underpiece that you wear that looks a bit like a skirt.
Okay.
There's a word for it, which I should know. And once you've got that on, pure comfort, man.
So wait, it's a skirt?
Yeah, imagine. So it's an elastic band, you pull it up, and then you don't wear underwear. So that is the underwear.
Oh, wow.
It's this piece of material that goes from your waist down to the end of the kandura.
The end also goes all the way down?
Yeah. Pure comfort, man. Pure comfort.
Interesting.
Really, our Emirati brothers have got it locked as to how to dress in the warm weather.
Yeah.
I mean, as you'd expect, right?
Yeah, of course.
It gets warm here.
What about the top? What do you have underneath
Always
the top?
an undershirt, just a t-shirt.
So always wear something underneath.
Yeah,
this.
nice, ideally like a nice cotton, Egyptian cotton t-shirt.
I see.
Perfect.
I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Sorry, I should have briefed you fully, bro.
Remember, you actually you invited me to meet Dan Bulgarian. Thank you for that. And I remember I wore kandura because we went to the mosque and stuff like that. And then our friend Mo was like, "Nice underwear." I was like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed." I was just wearing an underwear underneath.
It's not easy to get it dialed in, but it is worth it. Let me sort you out with some of these undergarments. I should actually offer them in the shop as well, because no one in the West even knows what they are.
Because this is made from the shop. This is from Custom Made Reality.
Appreciate you, right? Yeah.
So, yeah, you need to, because you literally spat me out there just with this, and I don't know what I'm doing.
We're at Kandura. We're going to the Grand Mosque.
This is your responsibility. If you're going to put me in this,
I'll sort you out,
have to make sure.
I'll sort you out, brother. Inshallah.
Okay, so, by the way, I came back from Australia recently, and obviously I go there and meet people. We do a podcast over there and stuff like that. And they all ask me questions about you.
In Australia?
In Australia. And when I came back and I said to you, you're more famous than you think in Australia.
I haven't been there for a while.
A long time. When was the last time you were in Australia?
2018.
2018, we're in 2024, 6 years.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
Indeed. And I was still staying pretty covert on social media back then. I mean, I knew the Tates then, but I didn't have any interest in a loud social media. I only really went loud on social media to talk up for them when they were, you know, in my view, very clearly falsely and wrongly detained, and they weren't able to speak. That's when I stopped hiding behind a small Instagram with Sartorial Shooter and actually used my name and spoke on Twitter Spaces and so on.
Yeah.
So 2018, I wasn't on social media in any, you know, significant way. So things have changed since then. Yeah.
What a different change it would be when you go back.
Interesting, bro. I don't even, the whole being recognized thing, I think it's all very positive, but I don't aspire to be famous in any way. Let brothers like Tate, who are better at that, do that. As far as I'm concerned, I'm here to support my brothers and to spread a positive message. But the effort that goes into building real fame online, and also, you know, the consequences. Our brother Tate's on house arrest in Romania, right?
Yeah,
what do you think is going to happen when he gets out? Anywhere he goes in the world, he's so famous now, he'll still kind of have to be stuck in his house. So the real price that comes with that level of fame, and you know, I've through the security industry, I've supported a lot of, you know, A-level celebrity types. It's not really a life you want. That top-level fame it restricts you in so many different ways. So yeah, I've got no interest in being too heavily recognized, bro. I'm just having fun, you know. Trying to spread a positive message.
No, I don't think it'll be. I think, look, you'll definitely be noticed when you go on the streets in Australia. People are going to come and take photos with you or want to sit with you and stuff. It'll be a frenzy if you go to a cigar lounge.
Somewhere where people are dressed in nice jackets or
It'll
something.
It'll be a frenzy. Because I went to a couple of cigar lounges in Australia and they'll all ask me questions about you.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
What do you like off camera? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, it's the same guy.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't be bothered putting on a facade, bro. I don't have enough energy for that.
Yeah, they're fascinated by you in a way.
Interesting. I guess it's the Aussie who's gotten out of the country and you know, done something a bit different.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been able to achieve the success I achieved by staying in Oz. The system there does not want you to win.
Correct.
The system here needs you to win, otherwise this city wouldn't exist.
Correct.
So yeah, I'm look, I love Australia. I long for the nature there, you know, in a certain way, but it's not my place, man. It's not my home.
Yeah.
The mindset, the culture, the morals of society, everything about Middle East is more me than Australia ever was, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I find that the more successful you become in Australia, the more the government or the system, how everything's written or how everything's been put together, it pushes you further down.
And isn't that amazing? Whereas in the UAE, the more you win, the more they want you to win. The leaders have spoken about the fact that if you want to be successful in this country, then put that work in. Remember His Highness Sheikh Mo, when he was talking about the fact that the gazelle has to run to survive, the lion has to run to survive. There's no sitting around just relaxing in this country. Like you are hustling. And that's the other thing. Weekends, holidays, in Dubai, it's a higher frequency. I don't know about you, but I mean, I had one day off where I just relaxed at home. It was a Sunday, 3 Sundays ago. I realised it's the first time I've done that in 6 months. Yeah. There's so much opportunity, there's so much happening here. Yeah. In Australia, people stop work at 5. Yeah. When do you stop work in Dubai? You don't.
You don't.
You know, maybe you try and get off your phone at 11, but you know, your to-do list is still growing for the next day. There's so much happening here, and I think that culture that's been created consciously by the leadership, that leads to them not coming after you if you get to a certain level. Sure. Whereas in the West, I've seen it again and again. When you get to a certain level of wealth, the system comes after you every single time because they don't want you to win. They want you to stay where you are, whereas UAE wants you to win. I love this place, man, really.
How much did you hate that Sunday that you took off?
It was weird. I wasn't good at it.
Yeah, I know you, and I wouldn't have imagined you would have liked that.
No, I had to keep myself busy. I focused on prayer. I meditated as well. I focused on reading. I read as much as I can about the faith that I chose a couple of years back. I can't just sit there though. I can't do TV anymore. Can't forget that, bro. One, it offends me so much. I find myself like getting angry at the television. Yeah. Because it's not entertainment anymore. It's just pure propaganda. Okay. And it's against the morals that I speak for and that I'm trying to raise, you know, my kids with. So I cannot watch TV or movies. Can't do it. Doesn't work.
Tell me an example. Tell me an example of a TV show or movie you saw recently.
Bruv. Well, to be honest, I haven't.
I can't. The last one that pissed you off?
Oh, I think it was called. It was a movie I went to watch with my kids and I ended up leaving with them. It was in the cinema. I think it was called The Free Man or something like that. Ryan Reynolds, I believe. Okay. Every 3 minutes max, there was some kind of alphabet agenda. You know, men are bad, women are amazing, men are dopey, women are smart and capable. Like just an assault of this leftist narrative.
Yeah.
To the point where I left the cinema. I was like, I can't do this, and I'm not letting my kids have this programming pushed into them under the guise of entertainment. It's not entertainment. It's a psyop campaign pushed at young minds who are easy to mold. So I can't do TV and also, what benefit do you get from sitting there passively consuming stimulus?
True.
Whereas if you're reading, if you're using your brain, at least, if you're producing something on social media, I think Tate's put it very well. How much are you a consumer? How much are you a producer? Yeah. If you can change that ratio, you'll see a success change as well in terms of your path throughout life.
Yeah, he says, be a creator, don't be a consumer. Create content and put it out there. Don't consume it.
That's real. And that's the thing. He's one of the biggest figures on social media. Bro, he doesn't spend time consuming anything on social media.
Really?
At one point, he didn't even have any apps on his phone. He just didn't like it. And I find that very interesting. A lot of people who I see doing really well on social media, they consciously limit how much time they spend, myself included. Like I don't see people's posts. I don't see people's stories. Maybe a couple of brothers, especially if I've been interacting with them. I want to see how they represent themselves. If I'm going to roll with someone, I need to be okay with who they are online. Not, it's part of the due diligence process.
Yeah, you come from a securities background. That's what you do.
I don't trust anybody. Professional paranoia. But everyone I know who's really living well is pretty conscious about limiting the time they spend consuming, whether it's TV or movies or social media, because it is a form of pacifying drug, if you will. It's addictive, as we know. The tech companies have spent billions on how to control people's minds and get that dopamine addiction even in the youth. There were actual focus groups targeting how do we get certain age demographics, young demographics addicted to social media. It's pretty dark stuff. So especially business leaders, people are aware of these things. They really make sure that they limit their exposure through, I had a chat with a guy called Ruslan, I believe you know him, yesterday. He puts very strict locks on his phone as to when he can even access social media. Like, he's that diligent about it, and he's a big figure on social media. There's a hint there.
Yeah, it's listen. It's like when you're used to that level of stimulation, and then when you don't get it, then you're depressed, and you think, I'm depressed. What's wrong with me? They're really trying to hook you in,
and they've hijacked the natural dopamine pathways. Dopamine is as I understand it, the release of I feel I've achieved something. Play a video game, level up, I've achieved something. Send a like or send a post out and get likes back, I feel I've achieved something. But have you actually? They're hijacking a natural response. And as we know, chase that real dopamine. My morning routine is dopamine based. I get up, there's prayer involved, there's reading, there's cardio, there's ice bath. I'm doing things, especially I don't like the cold. I'm doing things which are difficult, and I'm getting dopamine in a natural way. Bro, that supercharges me for the day. Now, it's a lot easier to just open your phone, check out social media. You're getting dopamine that way too. But it's in no way a sustainable energy boost throughout the day.
Well, it's not earned.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not earned dopamine. You know, it's like porn. You didn't seduce her. You didn't take her on dates. You know what I mean? You just watch porn.
Indeed, it doesn't really hit the same. But I've been thinking a lot about the fact that we're all chasing heightened states, right? Whether you're looking on social media to see if your followers have gained, or you're going to the gym to get that pump, or people who use drugs, we're all chasing that heightened state. Why do you do this podcast? Because you're a very social person. Good interactions give you that heightened state. You can get that heightened state through putting in effort. As I said, my morning routine, prayer, reading, cardio, ice plunge, I get that, I feel high. Or you can go and log on to some social media or a porn site, or take some sort of drug. I've really been reflecting on the different forms of wealth, and I really do believe that monetary wealth is the cheapest form of wealth. What if we looked at self-discipline as a form of wealth? Because I know a lot of people with a lot of money, but their lives are a mess. They're taking coke, they're engaging in prostitution, use of prostitutes, all these sorts of things. Their lives are crap. I know guys who have very high self-discipline. Man, they're fulfilled people. They may not have much money, but because they have that self-discipline, they're living a meaningful life, doing meaningful work, respected by their brothers around them, respected by their wives or girlfriends. Surely we should conceptualize self-discipline as a more important form of wealth in terms of seeking fulfillment than money. The tricky thing is you can't see it though. It's not like digits in the bank account.
Yeah, so you can't measure it. Because you can't see it, you can't measure it.
Exactly.
Why? Why is our brain, why does our brain give us so much more stability and, focus when we've got a slight bit of pain or misery that we go through? Like, nobody likes the cold, but you do it for the pain. Why is that? Have you, psychologically?
Well, I think especially as men, we're meant to suffer. We're not meant to be sitting in a nice, comfortable Maybach with the Red Bull there. Thank you for that, by the way. But I'm
welcome.
trying to resist it, but thank you.
Oh, really?
We're meant to suffer as men. Like, that's what builds us. And that's why
Yeah.
I really don't have time. I can smell the crypto money. I can smell them.
Yeah.
And I'll say, hey, man, just out of interest, where did you make your money? Oh, well, blah, 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 crypto.
Yeah.
It's just to let you know, and I've said this to people pretty early on in the conversation, like, we're Aussies, we can be a bit socially uncouth, right? We can be a bit rude. I've said, okay, mate, you're carrying yourself with an ego that you haven't earned in my eyes. I would respect people who've built businesses, raised families, been on adventures around the world, faced struggle, maybe been in the military, done difficult things around the world, more than someone who just bought an JPEG of an ape and they think they're special, right? But the issue is because you can measure monetary wealth, even if it comes easy, they walk around this unearned ego. I don't have many crypto money people in my circles. And if I do, then yes, they've had that bounce with money, but now they're focusing on actually developing themselves as a man, to your point, that needs to involve struggle. It has to. And small wins over time, that's what's most satisfying, bro. I remember, let's talk cars, bro, because I know you've got a few. My first car was a Mazda 323. Terrible car. It was gifted. I had to spend $500 on it to get it working, rust panels everywhere. But I was the man, bro. 16 years old, driving around in that absolute rust bucket. I was the man. Then when I got to the army, I bought a Holden. Oh, wow, I felt like a big boy then.
Commodore?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Wow. I mean, it was with a loan. It wasn't a you. I'm not that Aussie.
Okay.
Then when I came to Dubai, got going in the private sector, got my first real money rolling in, I bought a Scarlet Red Mustang, called it a Scarlet. Bro, I was nervous to drive her at first. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
A Mustang. I was nervous. I now have numerous Mustangs.
I know. You wreck your Mustangs.
Yeah, it's true. They tend to go sideways, make a lot of noise. Yeah. But those little wins over time, I mean, man, I will tell you, as a 16-year-old driving a $500 rust bucket, I had more satisfaction than when I get another Ferrari delivered.
Yeah.
It's those small wins over time. That's why I'm glad I didn't catch a crypto pump. That's why I'm glad I wasn't born to money, because little steps up over time, that's where the fulfillment comes. Now, having said that, I'm open to a crypto pump now that I've learned what I need to learn from life. That's fine. I'm positioned accordingly.
That's fine. That's making a smart investment from the experience that you've had.
Exactly.
Right? Not a 16-year-old kid in his mum's basement that put $500 into something and it became $5 million.
JPEG of a monkey, yeah. But my point remains that those little wins over time, I'm grateful that I had them. I'm grateful that I know what it's like to struggle. I'm grateful that I know what it's like to really be at the bottom of society, because now that that's changed, I get so much. I can wake up and feel grateful, bro, without doing a single thing.
Wow.
If I was born to money, I couldn't do that. So I'm really grateful for those little steps over time. I think that's what we should be seeking as men, not, oh, I want that big win. Oh, I want that Lambo straight away. Oh, I wish I was born to money. No, you don't. Allah's the best of planners. You want those small steps up over time. That's where the life fulfillment comes from.
Wow.
I used to love that rust bucket, bro.
Why are Aussies? Well, first of all, you mentioned Aussies are uncouth. What? I've never heard the word uncouth. What's uncouth mean?
Somewhat lacking in social graces. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Now, look, I love my Aussie brothers and sisters. I mean, I served in the military. I'm proud to call myself Australian. But we have to accept a few things. We live on an isolated island. And there's a little bit of an overconfidence thing going on. For example, with the way Aussies dress. I can pick Aussies in airports without even hearing them speak because of the way they're dressed.
100%.
It's a little bit different, but they think that it's, amazing, the best.
Yeah.
It's also with the social interactions. I've noticed a lot of Aussies will speak about themselves more than other nationalities. They'll speak a bit louder than other nationalities. They will lack that awareness that maybe it's time to end the conversation because you're losing the interest of the other person. You know what I mean? And I think that's, look, we're friendly, we're open, we're chattable, likable people, easy speakers, so to speak. But other nationalities can be a bit like, whoa, this guy's a bit brash, this guy's a bit in my face. So I'd say for those Aussies who are looking to leave Australia and enter the international business community, try to speak a little bit less about yourself. Try to get other people speaking about themselves more. Ideally, let's face it, business, dating, it's all very similar. You want to be getting the other person trying to impress you, not you telling them that you are this and that or worth this and that. You have to set the dynamic such that you are listening more, they are speaking more, and they are trying to seek your validation. And I think Aussies, as a general rule, can lack at that a little bit.
And you know what impresses people? Listening.
That's it. Everyone wants to speak about themselves, bro. That's the game.
Let them. Let them speak about themselves.
You're exceptionally good at that, by the way, bro. You ask incredibly well-informed, open questions that just get people just going, and then you prompt with little follow-up questions to steer them if needed.
I appreciate
it's lovely
that.
to watch. As someone who was formerly trained as an investigator, and prior to that in the military, went through, let's call it interviewing training.
Yes.
Let's call it that. You're very good at it, mate.
There's actually like an FBI course, an ex-FBI guy who did a course about interrogation, how to get information out of people. You would have written the course about that, really?
I mean, been through and had mentors who wrote it. The American system, I believe the FBI, they use the Reed approach, which results in a lot of what's known as false or forced confessions. So I wouldn't necessarily want to follow that doctrine without. I mean, there is rivalry within the intelligence and law enforcement agencies between America, their approach, and the British and Australian. You know, we are under the British approach. If you really want to master the art of asking questions, of interrogation, of interviewing, then
have a knife.
I would no, not at all. To be honest, I'd recommend the British approach, because the American approach, like you see in, I mean, it's a bit exaggerated, but you know that series 24. You know, show me where the bomb is. You know, we've got 24 hours. That doesn't result in any real confessional. There's no actionable intelligence that comes from that, because as soon as you get harsh, as soon as you have a knife or you threaten someone or you use what's known as enhanced measures, torture, as we now know and can say openly, that individual will morally, correctly judge the situation as, hang on, this person is bad. Why would I work with them? The second you start torturing someone, waterboarding someone, threatening someone, they're going to put a wall up and say, this is a situation where I'm being persecuted. Why would I work with that person? Real, we can use the word interrogation, is one where there's relationships built over time, there's trust built over time, and I map out your, what's known as MICE. Let's see if I can remember, it's a long way back. That's actually the American acronym, but your motivations, your ideology, I don't remember the other two, but there's a bunch of analogies within the intelligence world. Let's make it simpler. If I'm looking to do an interrogation effectively with you, we're going to profile you properly. What motivates you as a person? You know, what are your ideologies? What are your belief systems that I can associate with? Let's say I'm trying to convince you to do something, and I know you're a strong family man. I will show that I'm a strong family man too. From that, I will say, look, I understand that you think you're doing the right thing, but for the sake of your family, you need to come and help us. You know, help, the old line, help us to help you. And you see, that's interrogation, and can take many, many months if we're talking about how it's done properly in ways that can result in some actual, what's known as actionable intelligence, some realistic sharing of information from the individual involved. But the whole torture and pressure and tell me where the bomb is, it's nonsense. It doesn't result in anything actionable. And you can actually see from studies that were done on enhanced interrogation measures, which things like waterboarding, I believe there's no actionable intelligence that has ever come from them. Really? So the real intelligence services, when it comes to the way they do interviewing or interrogation, it is not in any way trying to squeeze it out of someone. It is building relationships over time. It is associating with belief systems, and it is building a real relationship such that I can convince you to do things that you otherwise wouldn't have done.
Your emotional intelligence is through the roof. I don't think I've ever seen you let your emotions take over you. I think I've always seen you logical and stealth.
I mean, look, in the army, my nickname was Anger Man. I was a very angry teenager. That came from a bit of a turbulent upbringing. That's what I'm grateful for from the military. Like you think you're some tough kid who you know is going to walk around and be a big shot. The army will fix that. Really? Especially if you're infantry like I was.
So the person I'm meeting today is not the person that was in the army?
Bro, not at all. I had, growing up, I had counseling for anger issues. Like I was a mess.
Wow.
Such that army was sort of the only way I could go. Even though, you know, alhamdulillah, I'm not unintelligent. I can learn pretty well. But academia just wouldn't have worked for me. I needed something more severe. And I'm very grateful, especially for the infantry days. Now, you think you're a tough guy? Go hang out with you know, a seasoned sergeant who's been on X amount of, you know, deployments and has done who knows how many operations. Those guys know how to take a young buck, so to speak, and bring in discipline and hone him so that he's a really capable human. So this calm, stoic me is not how I came into this world, not at all, bro.
Do you ever feel like that side is still alive and you could go back to it? I don't see it.
Not really, brother, not really. I mean, alhamdulillah, I've let out and I've addressed, anger in a young man a lot of the time comes from trauma, right? A lot of the time it's you're unhappy with, for example, your station in life, or you had a messy home environment growing up. I've looked into that trauma, I've released it, and also if we look at the non-trauma sort of anger within men, that desire to build, that desire to conquer, to get out in the world, to see it, I've done these things. So I've fulfilled both that masculine urge from, I want to go and achieve something, which, you know, a lot of that anger comes from, I'm not happy with my life, and also I've let go of any trauma that, resulted in me being an angry young man. Bro, I'm good, I'm chilled. Like alhamdulillah, I've either done the work or I've been blessed with situations that made me do the work to release my anger issues and release all that just daily frustration that my life was essentially not what I wanted it to be. Every day, bro, I can literally just wake up and just feel an abundance of gratitude without even doing anything. And prayer, bro, prayer is an experience for me. I've never done drugs. You know, as God is my witness, I never have, I never will. Even before Islam, I saw there was no sense in that. And I had family members affected by it. And, at an early age, I knew I'd never do it. But bro, I swear, I attain a high from prayer.
You mentioned you had a rough childhood, rough upbringing. Talk to me about that, because you haven't talked to anyone about that. You've talked to me off camera.
That's by design, brother.
I know. I'm really going to twist your arm this time.
Okay.
To try to get some out of you, right? But tell me about that. I mean, I think people don't know what you've been through.
I mean, look, I'm very grateful for any struggles that I went through. They made me who I am today, so alhamdulillah for the good and the bad. I don't think it was that unique. Bottom rung of the social ladder, single parent upbringing. Unfortunately, within the parents, there were drug use and these sorts of things.
Both mum and dad?
Yeah. The state had to get involved a few times. A lot of being at other people's houses. Just very, and constant money stress. Constant money stress, bro. Every day it was money stress. The amount of times I went to dinner with breakfast cereal. I went to bed with breakfast cereal as my dinner, you know what I mean? Like it was, yeah. So, look, I understand that all parties involved, we're all a product of our own trauma. I also understand that within Western society, there's a lot of broken families. And so I don't blame the individuals involved. I think it's a societal sickness. It's a product of that. But man, I wouldn't wish that upbringing on anyone. And that's why I've been so driven to create a very different upbringing for my own kids. Now, any time, even on this podcast, if I'm in front of 30, 40 people, when I was drifting yesterday, I feel my phone ring, pull over, check, it's my son, I answer it. My son and my daughter know the moment they reach out to dad, dad answers every time. When you meet my daughter next, just as a little, sense check, ask her if she's ever called me and I haven't answered in her life.
Oh, wow.
Really? I remember I was on the back of a yacht, I was hosting an event with 50 guys, having a Zoom call with my kids. I mean, alhamdulillah, my son lives with me now, which is amazing. Yeah. Daughter's still in another country. But either way, anytime they want affection and care and support from dad, I give it full focus. Yeah. Because I know that that's the key that was missing in my upbringing, which made, and also not stressing about things like money and being able to eat properly, little things like this. Yeah. At an early age, I was very committed to providing a completely different upbringing to my children than that which I went through.
But do you not feel like, first of all, I judge people based on their kids, right? And you don't need me to tell you this, you already know, but his son, are we allowed to say his name?
I mean, someone could find it if they wanted to research it.
Okay, his son. We're just going to say his son. Great guy. Greatest kid. I don't even look at him as a kid, to be honest with you. When I talk to him, it's just like we're playing like we're both adults, right? Because I think you've raised him to be an adult. You haven't isolated him when the boys have been around or anything. He wants to hear all the talking, how people talk and stuff like that, right?
He's fascinated by how to run businesses. He's fascinated by geopolitics, and that's by design. Yeah.
Are you conscious of isolating him from too much suffering that you went through and trauma?
It's a tricky one. I think a lot of people who have a bit of wealth about them, they do struggle with how do you raise your kids to have the same hunger that you had. Yeah. And that's where the fight sports come in. Yeah. So important. Yeah. He's getting in the ring every 3 months for a competitive boxing fight. He trains 5 times a week. He has very clear fitness goals as well, running, push-ups, all this sort of stuff. I wouldn't say it's military-esque, but it kind of is a bit. And I think with a young guy with a lot of energy, you can say, he has ADHD, medicate him and give him video games. Or you can say, okay, he needs routine, he needs discipline, he needs to be held to account, and he needs every day to expend a certain amount of energy, otherwise he's going to be a mess. My son is so calm and focused and level when he's done all of his heavy boxing training and his running and his push-ups and his stretches and everything. He does the prehab stuff as well. I say, you don't want to body like your dad, so you're going to have to do the stretches, you're going to have to do the agility work, the joint mobility, all these sorts of things, and he does it. He has these daily routines for these things. he is never calmer than after he's done all of his different training. Yet if he doesn't do the training for one reason or another, textbook ADHD.
I see.
The lazy parent approach would just be to medicate and say, hey, it's not my problem.
Yeah.
It is my boy. It is my challenge, which I embrace. Every day he's hitting goals. He's building complex Lego sets. He has to clean. We have a maid, but he cleans his own room. He vacuums his own room, and it gets inspected. But
Really?
he needs that, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Every young man needs a bit of push, and so you can't just sit him in a classroom and sit him in front of video games and then wonder, my young boy who's designed to run around and climb trees and play fight, because he's just sitting all the time, he has some sort of mental disorder. No, that's you as a parent needing to use or enable your kid to use the energy that he naturally and rightly has.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it. I can't believe that he cleans his own room. That's amazing.
100%, bro. Bought the vacuum, everything.
So the maid cannot go in his room. He has to clean it
100%,
himself.
100%. And it's a big room.
Probably the size of the house that you grew up in.
I think the ground floor of the house. It was where I grew up was a single floor house. Possibly the bedroom that my son now lives in might be the same size as the house I grew up in.
Damn.
Yeah.
You know, something that I like about him, or how you've raised him, is he's always looking up to you and always trying to make you proud. A boy needs that.
100%.
He needs to make sure he's impressing someone.
We're pack animals. The younger animals need to view the older animals with respect, and the king of the tribe, and need to try and earn their respect. That merit-based, challenging environment is absolutely key, especially if a young man's got a bit of energy about him. It's absolutely vital.
No, he's a great kid. He had a boxing match recently.
He did.
He wasn't very happy about that. It was a draw. And what did he do?
That's the problem. When they're young, a lot of the time the judges will just say it's a draw, even if it's very clearly not.
Yeah.
He obliterated his opponent, who was, I think, 2 years older than him.
Yeah.
But hey, you're both young, let's make it a draw. He was so unhappy. I mean, this is something we talked about a lot. I need more emotional control. He took the trophy he was given and he went up in front of the judges and threw it on the ground in front of the judges.
What did you think? I want to know what you thought of that when that happened.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
You need to win well. You need to lose well. It's having emotional control is more important than any boxing skills, and that's what he's learning life through boxing. And he won the boxing match in terms of his physical prowess and his but mentally he lost that day because he lost control of his emotions. And so again, boxing just gives you that forum with which to learn life.
What did you speak to him after that he did that?
Big chats, mate. Big chats. Oh, huge. About emotional control. About the fact that he's going to face challenges in life that don't go his way often. You can put in your max effort in business and you can still get ripped off, or still get some sort of black swan, just wipe your business out. You don't get angry and upset about it to the point where you lose your control of yourself. You think, all right, I need to do better next time.
Masculinity is not yelling and being emotional and shouting. Masculinity is wanting to yell, wanting to shout, but being able to control yourself and not do it.
Yeah, indeed. Having that big stick, but choosing not to use it unless you really have to.
Yeah, even though you want to, but
you can.
Showing the restraint, the strength of the strength, the strength of the strength is masculinity.
I'll pay that 100%, brother. 100%. Well said.
I'm going to twist your arm a little bit.
Again?
I'm going to twist your arm a little bit. This time we're going a little bit deeper. Because we're friends now. Like, we're buddies. Like, you're my guy. Like, if I ever have any troubles, you're the guy I call.
Habibi.
Like, I look at you guys as family. You already know that.
Likewise, mate.
When, I'm a single lad in Dubai.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to twist your arm a little bit on this one. I know you don't like to talk about your private life. Last time we did a podcast, you said, no, I don't want to talk about my private life. So I'm going to twist your arm a little bit and see what I can squeeze out. Because there's no one watching. It's just us, right?
Just us, yeah.
I'm a single guy, right? I'm in Dubai. And I feel like in a lot of aspects in your life, you've aced. Right? Fitness, money, family, kids, personal life, relationship life. Me being a single guy, I feel like the women that I meet, right, are more, what's the most I can get from this guy in the shortest amount of time?
So transactional.
Holidays, dinners, whatever it is, right? What's the framework that I need to be looking at to find a wife?
I mean, how deep down the rabbit hole do you want to go, bro?
I want you to tell me what you want to tell me.
It's going to be way too long for a reel, I'll tell you that now.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, mate, so I see a lot of people in this city and other big cities saying, you know, where do I find a good wife? And also there's a lot of women out there saying, where do I find a good man? Everyone talks about red flags and issues with the opposite sex. What about green flags? Why wouldn't you lay out the green flags that you're looking for? And if she doesn't have those green flags, why are you talking to her? Bro, if she's not wife material, why are you talking to her? What's the point? Really?
Sure.
So if you're single and you feel that you're interacting with a lot of transactional women, I would ask you, why are you bothering with that? Why are you not mapping out some very clear green flags and saying, if someone doesn't match these, then they're not what I'm looking for. They don't bring the same intent or the same effort that I bring to the table, so I'm going to disengage. So that's if you're spending time and energy on women who are not wife material, that's on you, brother.
Yep. I have things to say about that, but I want you to finish. Yeah.
Okay, so green flags, I don't profess to be any sort of expert, but alhamdulillah, I am very fulfilled. So I can speak to the fact that looking at these green flags is effective. I'd say first and foremost, there are givers and takers in this world. Does she get energy from giving to you? Does she get energy from, for example, making a bowl of chicken soup if she has a loved one who is sick? Is she a natural giver? Does it fuel her? Or does giving to a man or to, you know, kids that she interacts with or family members, does that drain her? That is absolutely number one priority, because some people are naturally giving, some people are naturally taking. You will not change that. And where I've seen a lot of men go wrong is they go for a really pretty, nice words, looks good on the arm girl or woman, instead of saying, is this person a giver or a taker? So number one green flag, is she a giver or a taker? Absolutely key. From there, you need to make sure that your value systems match. For me, I'm a dominant guy, I want a submissive woman. Now, with being a dominant guy means I need to have a lot of different things in my life in order. You need to have your emotional control right. You need to be able to lead the family unit. You need to be empathetic. The Prophet, peace be upon him, he was a great warrior, but he was very empathetic, very caring with his family. So if you want to be that dominant man and get that submissive woman, great, but you need to put the effort into yourself first. What are the benefits of being with a submissive woman? Everyone's like, oh no, that must be a form of weakness. No, that's a woman who's going to support you. Man submits to God, and we act accountable every day, and we serve God as well as we can every day. Woman submits to man. She is the co-pilot through life. She's there to keep you healthy. We'll work till we die if we don't have a good woman reminding us to eat. You know what I mean? She's there to help you enjoy life. Slow down, stop working, enjoy the sunset. A good woman will help you keep a beautiful home, raise a family if you choose. That comes a lot of the time from submissiveness. And everyone's trying to say, oh, that's a bad thing, and femininity means weakness nowadays, according to all these modern feminists who are trying to be men. So number two green flag is submissiveness. But to get that, you need to be a capable dominant. You need to put the work in yourself. Then there's obvious stuff. You need to look at her family and her upbringing. Everyone says, all right, her relationship with her dad will flavor the way she has a relationship with a man. Yes, certainly. If she respects her father, she is more likely to respect you. Definitely. However, why not look at the relationship dynamic between the mum and the dad that she grew up around? If she grew up around a mum who was always yapping at the dad, that's normal for her. She will fall into those patterns in her marriage. If she grew up around a mum who is respectful and caring and giving towards the dad, and the dad is the man within the family, and they're looking to build him up instead of chip away at him, like a lot of modern day marriages, that will be the norm for her, and she'll recreate that unconsciously in her marriage when she is ready for that. So that'd be number three. The relationship with the father, certainly, but also the relationship between the mother and the father that she grew up that she feels is normal. Absolutely key. I also will put religion in there. If a woman nowadays has not grown up fearing God, with a bit of societal shame, a bit of pressure that she should act in an honourable way when it comes to who she shares her intimacy with, unfortunately, because of Western culture, by the time a woman's 20, she would have already gone through too much relationship trauma to be a good wife anyway. I don't buy into this whole body count thing. I buy into how much trauma you've had with men, if we're talking about women, and how much you mistrust men and hate men because of all that trauma. It's very hard to then go into a very caring and mutually respectful relationship when you've had that much trauma at the hand of men. It's hard to love men when you hate men. You know, it's pretty simple stuff. Yeah. So that's absolutely key. And then there's the lifestyle choices. Fitness, absolutely key. Does she value fitness? Does she enjoy things like eating well and cooking? And another one, is she aware of the fact that social media will rot your brain? Does she limit? That's an amazing red flag. If you find a woman who limits her social media usage because she knows that that cultural conditioning isn't going to lead to her being in a fulfilling relationship, fantastic. Another one, is she anti-feminist? I know a lot of women who are very well educated, very intelligent, very successful, but they know that feminism is unhealthy because it makes man and women compete together instead of man and women complementing each other and winning together as God has designed us. So is she a religious woman, ideally anti-feminist? Fitness, parents dynamic you need to look at. Ideally there's a strong relationship with a masculine father figure, and the normal that she grew around was the mum respecting the dad. Does she fear God? Does she believe on a deep level that her role is to support the man? Is there a submissiveness there, and is she naturally a giver? When you screen for these sorts of things, yes, it's hard to find, sure, I get that, because that's the opposite of modern culture. But women like that do exist, and they're looking for a man like you. Do you put yourself forward on your social media as a guy with traditional values who's a dominant, caring man looking for a submissive, giving woman? Do you present yourself like that? Does everyone know you're that guy? Or do they think you're the sort of guy who's going to go and engage with girls who want a holiday or a handbag? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Ideally also she's anti-socialist. A lot of women who come from former communist countries are very against these socialist values of everyone should just be same. If she understands the value of hard work, that's a good thing for you, because when you have to work hard, she'll say, thank you for working hard, husband, as opposed to, oh, you're never around the house, why don't you focus on me? As you hear from a lot of Western women, right?
Yeah.
I do not believe that Western culture produces green flags in women. I think it produces a lot of red flags, such as entitlement. Look, I don't need to talk about red flags. The world talks about red flags. The number one red flag to look for is entitlement. I don't cook, I don't clean, I got that wet. No. That is not someone who will have a fulfilling relationship. That is a taker.
Yeah.
So that you want to find women from cultures or from households that reject this feminist entitlement. You know, I have this certain type of genitalia, therefore I'm not going to cook and clean. What's it? It's not about cooking and cleaning, it's about contributing, it's about giving.
Yeah.
Also, if a woman's born to a lot of money, is she going to appreciate the effort that goes into hard work? Maybe if she respects her father, but I think it's good to, in terms of a green flag, a woman who has had to work hard at some point in her life so she can appreciate when her husband's working hard, and instead of getting antsy that you're not around all the time, says, thank you, husband, what can I do to support you? Again, there's that co-pilot throughout life. A woman who wants to see you win as a team doesn't just make it all about her. I'd say a final green flag is coming from a small city or a village. Big cities are havens for degeneracy. You know, so there's a lot of guys there who are just looking to chew through women with no consequence, and again, that leads to trauma. When you're in a smaller community, both the men and the women are accountable. There's a bit of societal shame. They need to be careful with who they interact with, because, man, there are consequences to sex. If a really masculine guy who's living well goes and has sexual intercourse with a woman and, you know, really has that intense, intimate connection, you can imprint on that woman such that she'll always think back to that first amazing moment she had, to the point where that can stop her being a good and fully committed wife. This is why within Islam, zina, sex outside of marriage, is graded similar, if not same, in terms of level of sin as murder. Because you can ruin a woman's life. And even before Islam, I believe this. If you want to get naked with a woman, it's your responsibility to take care of her. Tell me society wouldn't be better off if every man thought like that. I know a lot of red pill guys who are saying, oh, you women, you open your legs too easily. I'm sorry, it also comes down to the man. If you are going to have intimacy with dozens of women and not take care of them, are you not adding to their trauma? Are you not making them less able to be a good committed wife because they've been through a bunch of trauma and they mistrust men and they're jaded? So I think men and women would do well, and society would do well, to strongly believe that you do not get naked with someone unless you're prepared to take care of them. And within Islam, they say there's no love before nikah. Before a practical agreement between two parties that yes, our lives, our belief systems, everything matches and makes sense on a logical level, that's when love can come. If you base a relationship based on, oh, I felt something because she's pretty, mate, that ain't going to work out for you.
100%. I despise men that go and put trauma on women just for no reason, just for shits and giggles.
Oh, that's terrible.
For no reason. It's like when you go to a park and you enjoy it. When you leave, do you set the park on fire? Another man has to come and enjoy that park.
100%. And I think that's part of the issue I see with the red pill way of thinking. Everyone's talking about, oh, these women nowadays, they're all a mess. You contributed to that, friend. Mm-hmm. Even before Islam, I felt that I'm not going to be intimate with a woman unless I'm going to take care of her. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, I could ruin her life by showing her such an amazing time. You know, alhamdulillah, I'm not poor. Alhamdulillah, I'm pretty physical. Let's put it that way. Let's keep it clean in the way we talk about it. I'm not going to go and give a woman that level of emotions and experiences that then it would be hard for her to go and find with, a regular guy, because maybe she meets a regular guy, they have an amazing connection, and they go and have a family together. Again, if you're a certain level of guy, you need to be careful of what you do with women out there, because maybe you are altering their life in a negative way if you're not prepared to take care of them and make it a formal arrangement in which you're looking after them and their family and the families you create together. Mm-hmm. There's consequences in sex, man. There's consequences in intimacy. I think a lot of people have forgotten that, and they're just having sex with anything that moves, and then they're like, oh, where have all the good women gone? You've helped create the issue, friend. You can keep it in your pants as much as she should keep her legs closed.
I'm going to give you my situation, and I'm going to give you the permission, even though you don't need the permission, but I'm going to give you the permission to be completely direct with
the cameras rolling.
Yeah, with the cameras rolling,
okay,
right? I was in a relationship for 8 years. Okay. I was engaged, right? Loved this girl. I became a simp, right?
Did you believe in love?
Do I believe in love?
Yeah. And if so, what type of love? Is it the I saw her and I felt butterflies Hollywood love? You know what I believe in, if you don't mind me jumping in? Yeah. I think love is largely a Western production from movies, this, that, the other. I think real, genuine connection is respect-based and appreciation-based. Yeah. I think it's more meaningful to say to a woman, I respect you, I appreciate you, I want you next to me in life, than, oh, I love you. Love can fade. Yeah. Love is an emotion, it comes and goes. Deep-seated respect for a woman, real complementarity, practically, more than emotionally, that's what keeps relationships together forever. So again, oh, I loved her, I felt amazing around her. Okay, cool, that can change on a given day. If you respect someone's values, if they respect yours, if you work together as a team and you win together in life, you raise families together, build businesses together, that is the foundation of a successful marriage, a lot more than this Western concept of, ooh, love, emotions. I'm not a big believer in love, bro, to be honest.
Listen, respect over love, always. Respect over love, 100% I agree with you.
Respect shown through actions, not just through words.
Yeah. So what is love to you then? Is it something you build? Is it something...
I think love is something that comes over time. And again, even before Islam, I believed the concept that there shouldn't be love before nikah. You practically decide that a relationship makes sense. Yeah. Yes, there'll be a connection. Yes, there'll be attraction. You're not going to try and build a relationship just on practical considerations, but the practical should be primary. There's enough of an attraction here that we know that this could develop into very fiery intimacy, a very strong emotional connection. However, first and foremost, do we make sense practically? Does she have the same expectations about how the house will run than you? I'm a very dominant guy. I'm not going to go and shack up with a woman who wants to be a career woman. If women want to do that, great, good for them. I'm looking for someone with the same belief systems as me. So you got to make sure that there's that practical alignment first. And of course, there's the foundation for what you can see will be a good, strong intimacy. From there, you have a clear communication. These are your roles, these are my roles. This is how it's going to work on a day-to-day basis. This is what will happen if we separate. From there, you can let what people know as love to grow over time. Respect-based, service-based, action-based, not, oh, she's pretty, so I felt something in my stomach and therefore we should get married. Like you see in these ridiculous Hollywood movie narratives. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to me, right? Because I'm selfish like that.
But also, I hijacked that.
I was in a relationship 8 years, engaged, all that, right? Broke up, devastated, had to go find myself again, went to a dark place, rebuilt myself, came back out.
Okay. That devastation was programmed into you from an early age, by the way. By every song you listened to, every TV you watched. Oh, I lost the love of my life. I should feel pain. I should be... That's not natural, bro. That's programming.
Really?
Yeah, but that's a different discussion.
Well, the thing is, what about getting used to someone? because I felt like I was leaving the shower with no clothes on. I was so used to 8 years having this counterpart that was my partner to do things. Now I'm on my own. So it was adjusting to that.
It touches on a different belief that I have. I don't think men and women should be around each other all the time, like we see being the norm in the West. Men are meant to be out conquering, achieving, going on adventures in that masculine frame, facing risk, facing struggle, come back and relax, get some meat on, fix the injuries, eat well, relax well with a loving, caring wife next to them. I don't think we're meant to be around women all the time. One, it ruins polarity, it ruins passion. You get over familiar with each other, as you said, leave the bathroom door open, stuff like that. But two, we are happiest as men when we are with our brothers doing masculine things.
Yeah.
I really do believe that we have different energies, different frequencies, different goals in life to women. So we should be out there conquering and then come back to rest around our women. I don't think we should be around them all the time. So I think it's hard to have sustained passion with a woman if you're around her all the time.
100%. Look at the people that work with their wives. They're at home with them and they work with them. The passion goes like that.
You need to be off with the boys.
Yeah.
At least half the week you should be focusing on doing things with your lads, building businesses, hitting the gym, going on adventures, doing risky, exciting things. That's how you maintain a natural high, healthy testosterone level. Be around the boys, do boy stuff, and then go home and rest with your lovely, caring wife. She's excited to see you, hasn't seen you for a while. You're excited to see her. That's how you sustain that dynamic over time.
Yeah. Okay.
So your situation.
My situation is now that I'm single, I don't want to be in the golden cage. I don't want to have to think about somebody else. Did she get home from work? Did she eating tonight? Hey, let's do something Saturday. I promised her we'll do something Saturday. I don't want to have to think about another person. And look, all the women that I date and I go down a line with, I don't just have. I don't sleep with women for no reason, right? Like I actually like their character and I actually try to make it work. But now, I'll be on a date or something and she'll be a nice girl and everything, but I know that this is not the girl for me. But I enjoy her time and she enjoys my time. But I think to myself, I hope she doesn't hold grudges, because she's going to go through the cycle and be another victim of my cycle.
You're a charming guy.
And that's what I think now. I just think, I hope she doesn't hold grudges, this one. Because she's going to go through the cycle of whatever I've created and be another victim, and she's going to be upset and whatever. But I'm upfront with them, but they always try to change that. Maybe I can change him. Maybe he wants to be... I'm not leading anyone on. They know that, hey, look, let's see what happens. But and look, let's see what happens. When I got back, when I got with my ex, I wasn't looking for a girlfriend. It just happens. When the right girl comes to you, everything stops. So it's one of those things where I just go out dating, whatever, and I just kind of see how I go. And then, I don't know.
What's the intent there, bro? What's the intent? Is it to find a wife or is it to have a fun time?
I think everybody's end goal should be to find love.
Okay, but
Right.
that's what your intent is.
FBI, negotiator.
Bro, please don't label me with some American agency, bro. British system, come on now.
That usually works with women. Everybody's. Fuck! I shouldn't have said that. They're gonna be so angry. So, what's my intent? What should my intent be?
You're ducking it, mate. You're ducking the question.
What should my intent be?
Well, it depends. Do you have the time and energy to waste whining and dining, to use the Western term, a woman who you know is not wife material? Is there enough time on this planet to waste with women who you know you will not have a relationship with and build a family with and live a life together? Maybe you do.
Okay, but here's the thing. What's the rush?
Yeah, okay, I hear that. So your intent is not to find a wife then, immediately. You are seeking fun and enjoyment, and in that case, you can't whinge about it being transactional. That's what your intent is. You're looking for, I'll give you some of my time and my resources, and you get to ride the Radin train, which is a pretty cool train, pretty luxurious, pretty exciting, pretty adventurous, very high status, and you'll give what a woman gives in such situations. But that's not looking for a wife, bro. And so you can't complain that you've got transactional dynamics with women when your intent seems to be a transaction in itself in terms of your time and your charisma for what a woman has to give.
Is it okay to not want to find a wife? Or no?
What's the point though? What's the point? You don't have more meaningful things to do with that life force inside of you, that energy? I mean, that taking that sexual energy and putting it into building businesses, building physique, exploring the world, isn't that a more meaningful ROI than just, oh, I went on a date with a woman who, she annoyed me, but hey, I bought her a dinner, so therefore I need to get something back. Transaction. So, I mean, look, if you're doing the transactional stuff, that's your decision. I think it's a massive waste of time at best, and at worst, I think it's damaging for both parties. You're creating more trauma in her and more, oh, things didn't work out, I trust men less and less. And in you are effectively wasting energy and time you could be using on building something meaningful, which can then create life, can create home, Bro, a good wife is an absolute superpower when it comes to building businesses. Superpower. In the same way a bad wife is kryptonite to ruin your entire life.
Yeah.
So why are you not focusing on getting that superpower? Why bother? Man, the minute you see that she's not wife material, why are you still talking to her? To get between her legs? I'm sorry, bro, but are you not then exchanging your time and your effort for hedonism? Is that not some fat kid who's trying to get himself a chocolate bar? Like, how is that an evolved way to live? What's the point? We're going to put all that effort into sex? It's not oxygen. You can live without it. If you took the frame that I'm not going to talk to or date or pursue a woman who's not wife material, your life would have a lot less risk. I'm not just talking in terms of STDs or anything. Energy-wise, condoms won't stop bad energy coming into you. I'm talking in terms of financial risk, all the complications that come from having women who want to make false allegations. We've seen happen to some friends of ours. If you take the frame that I'm only looking for a wife and I'm not going to do any of that transactional dating, the second I see that someone's not wife material, I'm going to disengage. One, you're more likely to find a good wife, which you know is a superpower. And two, you're going to stop wasting a bunch of energy and exposing yourself to unnecessary risk. For what? Is superficial sex really that important that you're going to put all that time and effort and expose yourself to all the different risks involved for? And you're going to not have the intent to find yourself that superpower of a good wife who can take care of you and your home and your family throughout your entire life? For me, it's pretty simple. The maths are pretty clear.
Could it be abundance? Could it be because there's so many options that you don't want to settle down
But are they
with
good
one?
options though, bro? Is not a good wife who followed those green flags that I mentioned worth more than all of the options out there in the world? I'll answer that. Yes, one good wife is worth 50,000 friends with benefits. When someone is truly your partner, your co-pilot in life, and you know that you'll go through all the challenges of life together, that's a blessing, mate. And especially if, as we said, it's a giving, submissive woman who gives you energy, who takes care of you, takes care of the home, does all of your admin, reminds you to stop and enjoy the sunset so you're just not working constantly. Bro, that is such a massive value add to life. You don't get that from some random skank that you found in some nightclub.
You haven't spent much time single. You've gone from right?
Not exactly.
No,
bro.
you've spent some time single.
Yeah.
So have you experienced what I'm experiencing?
100%.
Okay, and how did you get out of it?
Funnily enough.
Tell me the blueprint.
Funnily enough. Without going too deep,
So what I just said is not foreign to you.
No, I was single for 2 years in Dubai after divorce.
Okay.
I was a busy boy.
Yeah.
It was before Islam. I had my money right, physicality, all these sorts of things. I'm 6'6".
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard out there. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And the competition's weak too. I noticed.
Yes.
Men nowadays they're not much.
Yeah. They don't have banter. They don't have charisma.
And they just don't really carry themselves as men. They're just like thirsty little, again, fat kid trying to get as many candy bars as they can. Man, honestly.
True.
So yeah, look, I was spinning plates, so to speak, as it's known.
Yeah.
But then some friends who were close to me, the Tate brothers, said this whole thing's a waste of time. You need to get yourself a wife, or as they referred to it, wives. Just having girlfriends is a waste of time. The reason I stopped spinning plates all those years ago was Andrew and Tristan Tate telling me, no, you need to focus on building quality relationships with women who are worth keeping around you for the rest of your life.
And I think you're passing on that to me right now.
Yeah, I mean. Well, if you look at it objectively, the friends with benefits thing is a waste of your energy. Really. You can have the most beautiful, casual hookup, friends with benefits or whatever, dating, whatever term you want to give it. you're losing energy because you're putting energy and time into something which you're not keeping as part of you. It's not your team. If you have a wife, any energy you put in, any experiences, even down to your sexual energy, you're keeping it within your team, as opposed to just throwing it out to random people in the world who don't respect it and don't give it back to you.
What if I feel like the girls that I have in rotation, they actually are on my team. I do have a good time with them.
How does it work out though?
I like this from her, like this from her, like this from her, like this from her. Together they become the perfect person. How do I deal with that?
Sounds complex, brother.
How do I deal with that?
Look, but how does it work out in the end? It works out with them getting attached, them trying to make it more serious than you're ready to do it, and you letting them down and them getting trauma and you going, oh well, pity, need to find someone else. It's not productive.
They know.
Okay.
They know.
Then, okay, if they are with you and they know that it's just play and you'll never take them seriously, I think that's a woman with broken morals.
One said to me yesterday, I know we're not going to be anything, you've made it clear, I just love that you're on this earth and I love that you're...
She wants to make it real with you.
Of course, I know that.
This is cope in her mind, and at some point she will try and make it real with you. Whether it's little things of leaving a toothbrush in your house, or just starting to turn up the romance stuff, or starting to get upset if you forget birthdays. Yeah. She's more and more going to want to try and make it into a marriage type relationship. And if she doesn't, she's broken anyway. So the maths aren't math in here.
Math in here. You know what they do actually? You said something. You know what they do deliberately, and I've seen it. At first I didn't really notice it, but now I see it. Girls leave hair everywhere. Yeah. They literally do this and they put it on the ground here. So the next girl comes like, what is this? I've seen that.
Look, I get it. I mean, I was there for a long time. I was pretty committed to that. But I've also lived in a different way where I do not interact with a woman in any shape or form unless I'm going to take care of her forever. Mm. When you have that frame, you have a much less risk exposed life, a much more energy healthy environment, and also you'll know that ultimately you're not hurting somebody. Mm-hmm. Every one of these women you have in rotation, you will end up hurting them. Mm-hmm. That's the end state, and there is a level of whether it's deception or them lying to themselves, cope. Oh yeah, he says it's not going to be anything serious, but it might work out as serious. Mm-hmm. That's the only way they're able to still be there, mm-hmm. unless they're so broken that they're letting any man do whatever he wants to them. Mm-hmm. In which case, that's not wife material mm-hmm. anyway.
Of course.
So it's one way to live, but it's not the optimal way to live. If you really want to be the most effective and most fulfilled man you can be, spinning plates is not the way to do it.
Do you feel like, I mean, we're from Australia. In Australia, the average marriage rate is like 27 years old, right? Men and women, they quickly get to, you get to a nightclub in Australia, they're all 21-year-olds, right? They're all very young. People usually by 27, 28, 29, they're married, all that. Do you feel like I could be also fishing in the wrong pond for a wife?
I think the optimal age difference between man and woman starts at 10 years. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear that, but women mature mentally and emotionally a lot faster than men. Women who are in their mid-20s are going to be vastly superior to men in their mid-20s when it comes to what's in here. As a man, it takes time to build value. As a man, it takes time to become the man. A woman, you're born with that value. So I really do think that at least 10 years difference is where you have healthy relationship dynamics such that you are enough of a man to at least be on her level when it comes to the interactions mentally, mm-hmm. for her to respect you. You ask a 25-year-old woman how much she respects a 25-year-old guy, they'll laugh at you. So again, yeah. I think the question is, in terms of screening, where do you start looking in terms of age? I think at least 10 years, brother. And that's the successful relationships I've seen that go 10 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50-year marriages always have at least a 10-year age gap. I've noticed it again and again.
Okay, so interesting. So I'm looking at I'm looking at the wrong age groups then. Okay, I'll tell you another thing that I've been
depends.
thinking.
Are you looking for marriage and kids, or are you looking for just playthings? Because if you want
marriage and kids,
okay. Well, in that case, you want a woman with as little trauma as possible.
Yes.
From people who are just spinning plates. And again, you want to apply the green flags we've talked about.
Okay, what about this? This is something I've thought of recently, right? I actually thought of this after I did a podcast with a lady who was also talking to me about dating. What if I want, and this is the idea I said to her. I said, well, after you saying that, I'm thinking I want an independent woman that makes her own money, because if she doesn't, then she's with me not for love, but because financial backing.
There's many different factors involved there, brother. You can have women who make their own money, but then want to just be have nothing to do with the line of work she was in, and is looking to support a man instead of supporting a corporation. You can also have women who make their own money and are terrible people. Like I wouldn't use that as a key, like screening factor. I think, again, per the green flags, a woman who at some point has worked hard and understands that effort goes into making money, and so therefore she'll appreciate you putting in that effort, as opposed to getting annoyed that you're not around the house all the time.
Also, I've from my experience, I've also liked it. This might sound really bad. I've also liked it when a woman, for me personally, selfishly, I've liked it when a woman hasn't had a dad in her life, because then I become the only man in her life. Because I'm the only man in her life.
That's pretty dark, bro.
It's really dark, but that's from my experience. I'm like, I don't like.
But then there's a lot of trauma to unpack, right? And that's going to be your responsibility. If you really care for a woman, you will help lead her through the trauma she had from her upbringing. We all have some form of trauma from our upbringing. Ever been to a psychologist?
Yep.
I've spent a lot of time with them, again, in my upbringing, because, the anger issues I had, but also within the military, within the intelligence world. I was interacting with some of the best psychologists in the world who were embedded with the units that I work with.
Okay.
Everything comes down to childhood. Everyone has trauma from childhood.
Yeah.
You've heard that expression, so you think you're so enlightened, go and spend a week with your parents?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone has these issues, and if you're a truly caring man, if you're the true patriarch, if you're that true dominant who's leading those he loves, it's your responsibility to help lead her through her trauma. If you are choosing a woman with no dad at all, that's a lot of trauma, that's a lot of work and hours, countless effort, amount of effort you need to put in to helping her work through that trauma. I would not be trying to find a wife who has that amount of trauma from her upbringing.
Wouldn't that be better than having her have a dad that meddles in the relationship? My dad said this. My dad said you shouldn't be doing this.
So be a stronger man. Have stronger frame.
Yeah.
And say, with respect to your dad, he has his opinions. This is my family. I lead it this way. And by the way, I have these achievements and these accolades. Grade where you're getting your information from based on who the most capable. Be a more capable man, bro. If you really have smashed all areas of life, let other people have their opinions. You are winning.
Yeah.
You are successful in, I'm not just talking money, I'm talking fitness, I'm talking respect of others, I'm talking the businesses you've built, positive contributions you've had on the people who interact with you. If you are really hitting every one of those points and maxing them, who cares if someone has a differing opinion?
Yeah.
The scoreboard is clear.
Yeah. You can also, listen, you married me, you didn't marry your dad. This is our family. I feel like in life, you have two families. Okay, you have the one you're born in, and you have the one that you create. You must move on to the one you create and make them a priority over the one that you were born into. That's the natural progression of life, because you're not giving your kids the foundations of a bright future if you're not going to put them first. If your kid's going to feel like you've always got your own mum's back, grandma's back, and your old family over us, you never left that family to come into this family.
I'll pay that. And that's part of what Jung calls the process of individuation, if memory serves. It's where you're becoming your own person. At first we are being held by the mum, or first we're inside the mum, then held by the mum, then we're a baby who needs mum. At some point we need to become our own humans. And I really like what you said there. At some point your birth family is going to be less important to you than the family you create. Now ideally your birth family acts with respect and love and care and can be brought into your I'm choosing family, but a lot of the time it's not the case. Now I know within Islam it's very important to take care of your parents and to take care of your family members, but if they're toxic individuals who refuse to change, then unfortunately all you can do is take care of them from a distance.
But you're still taking care of them.
True, yeah, I guess, yeah.
You're right. Even if it's your mum and she's being toxic and she's meddling into your life and stuff like that, you need to make that hard decision.
We need to set boundaries with every person in life, whether it's business or relationships or family. Otherwise, you're going to get walked over.
Yeah,
it's very clear.
Yeah, but the new family you create must become a priority. Even for the woman. The woman can't be like, my dad and my brother are my everything. No. You're creating a new family.
It's nature. It's biology. At some point, your kids will leave the home and they'll go and create their own families. And if you don't accept that as a parent, then that's your issue.
Yeah.
I'm pretty nowadays. I'm pretty good at telling people, sorry, that's your issue. You can deal with that. That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
This is how it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're welcome to go somewhere else.
I've got my problems, and trust me, you don't want me to share my problems with you either. My problems are bigger than your problems.
Yeah, fair. That. What's that? You can judge a man by the size of his problems.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of people out there that that preach many women, many wives. What is your philosophy on that?
Oh, I think everyone who's out there on social media saying, I'm going to have, X amount of wives, X amount of kids, try having one mutually fulfilling relationship that's sustainable, and try having one kid first. Because it's one thing to be a husband, it's another thing to be a good husband.
Yeah.
It's one thing to just, I'm a dad, to be a good, caring, giving dad. There's so much effort involved, bro, so much effort. So to all these people who say, I want, X amount of families and X amount of wives, you've got work to do on yourself first, friend. And try having one relationship that you can say, you know what, this couldn't be better. The other party's incredibly fulfilled, I'm incredibly fulfilled, and I still have room in the day and energy to lead more families. I don't think that many men are realistically positioned for that.
Yeah.
Again, it's one thing to be a dad or a husband. Being a good, caring, giving dad and husband's a whole different game.
Yeah. Would you say 2 wives would be harder than 1? Are you doubling the pressure, or?
I mean, the polygyny discussion is a very interesting one. Throughout history, the leaders of a tribe or of a country, and nowadays you see even today, the wealthy guys of the world, they tend to have more than one intimate partner. Now, are they doing that through a wife and mistresses, or astaghfirullah, prostitutes or something, or are they maintaining multiple families in a caring way, and per Islam, if it's done with certain very clear, strict provisions in a clean way? At a certain point, I mean, I've heard that expression, men are as faithful as their options. You know what I mean? It's one thing to say that you're a faithful guy if you've got no options.
Yeah.
So the question is, should a man who has many options pursue multiple partners? I think it comes down to intent. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you want to be the big man? Or are you doing it because you have the capacity to lead multiple family units? Like that whole where have all the good men gone? Polygyny is the answer to that. And throughout history, the guys at the top had multiple families and they provided for them, not just monetarily, emotionally, presence-wise, in terms of being fully present with the family. Being able to lead multiple families through the ups and downs of life, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. And again, I'll refer to the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him. His ability to be a warrior, but also to be a caring family man for many families, to me, that's just amazing. The amount of effort that went into that is truly, you want to talk about a role model for masculinity, grounded masculinity, he's the guy, he's the man throughout history. So I think all these people who are, seeking multiple wives and things, it's a lot of effort, and we see throughout history that, only the guys at the very top who really had a lot of capability would even undertake that. So for me, I'd say to anyone pursuing that sort of thing, have a look at yourself and the work you need to do first. And it's not just about money, it's about being that true patriarch, protecting, providing, being emotionally present, leading your family through the ups and downs of life. It's a lot of work, and I don't think people should aim for that until they've at least shown mastery over maintaining one family and leading one family unit before you even think about extending that. And also, I think, yes, the urge to have variety sexually is a healthy thing. Definitely, it's in us, we can't deny that. But how are you expressing that? Are you expressing that in a way where people benefit in terms of leading families and taking care of people? Or are you expressing it in a way that's just trashy and dirty, whether it's mistresses or prostitutes or side flings or whatever? So yes, it's a healthy urge, but to express it in a productive manner, that's a lot of work, man. I don't think most men are ready for that.
You've given me a lot to think about. I'm actually thinking right now as you're talking. What about that guy, and I'm talking about me, who just doesn't want to have to think about somebody else, A, and B, doesn't want to put himself in a position to go through what he went through last time. He's like, oh, look, there was a lot of trauma. Yes, I learned from it. It's not going to be the same, but I just don't want that headache right now.
Well, see, isn't that interesting? You yourself are carrying trauma from your past, even as a man, that you will need to get over. You need to look at it and release it in order to be a good husband. The more times you went through that trauma, the more work you have to do in order to be able to be a good, caring husband. I put it to you that if you were like, oh, I don't want to have to care about or think about another person, it's not the right person. If you found a woman who was incredibly giving and devoted and caring and God-fearing and added value to your life in every area, and she was your co-pilot, your partner throughout life, of course you'd want to care about her.
You'd never want to let go of that.
That's what I mean. So you not wanting to care about a woman or having to think about her all the time just means you're not interacting with the right type of woman for what you're looking for. Bruv, it's exhausting spinning plates, mate. You are losing energy. Whereas if it's your asset throughout life, it's your life partner who you know, I'm going to grow old and die with this person. Every energy I put in this person, I get back tenfold. It's energy boosting.
Yeah. Do you think I'm fishing in the wrong pond?
It sounds like it. I mean, look, it is tricky in a big city, especially a big flashy city like Dubai, to find a woman with traditional values, who is God-fearing, who takes care of her body and herself in a way that goes against the culture of the West. Hey, go and discover yourself. I love all these, like, I'm going to go to Tulum to discover myself. What you're going to discover is a bunch of, I won't say it, but
Say it.
trauma. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It is hard to find a woman in a big city who has those traditional values and is able to be a good wife because she's not just riddled with trauma and degenerate Western programming, but it's possible. 100%. I mean, it's not easy, but it's possible. Why aren't you focusing on that? Why isn't your sole dating strategy to find a woman who you know is good wife material?
I'll tell you another thing. In Dubai, the women here, I mean, the Emirati women are beautiful and they're wives. The Emirati women are wives, right? Because they've been grown up in culture and they're religious and everything like that. But you see all the other women here, the Lebanese, the Persians, the Russians, whatever. The ones that are coming here because of the flashiness. Those are already the women that you don't want. You need to go to those countries to find those women that don't want to move to Dubai because they're not fazed by the flashiness.
Look, I think if you've come on holiday in Dubai and you're on a dating app, that might be a bit of a red flag. But if you're in Dubai for work, because your home country doesn't have that much opportunity, I don't see any red flags in that. I'm sure. I mean, look, I don't go out and sample these things. I'm sure there are many women working in respectable jobs here, not real estate. I mean, maybe I don't know, who have traditional values and move to Dubai to make money in a good job as opposed to find a man to get a handbag from.
Yeah.
Of course they're here. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is doable.
Okay, so by the way, I've dated some real estate agents. Or dated, like I'm gonna say dated. I've dated some real estate agents, and even with that, like the comment you made about the real estate, I've had girls like come, I just did a deal, 150 million house, whatever it is, and then they'll come back like a week later when I see them again, and they'll just be crying. What happened? That deal fell through because he doesn't want to pay the deposit until I go over there and I show him in person. I know what that means. I don't do that. So even the girls that you see are killing it are the ones that are willing to do the extracurricular activities.
Interesting. I buy my properties from a tall guy with a beard. I don't want none of that.
And he's real ugly, Aaron.
I mean, he dresses well.
He dresses well, but thank God there's something to.
Yeah, I mean, it's that to me is very unfortunate, bro. Like, if you're going to try and push a woman towards what is essentially prostitution, shame on you. You'll pay for that. That's disgusting. That's someone's daughter. That's someone's future wife. I think that sort of thing's terrible. Any man who is engaging in those sorts of games in this city, they'll burn in hell, bro. It's serious stuff. Within Islam, zina, sex outside of marriage, is graded the same as murder because you can ruin someone's life. Imagine a woman, a normal girl who was in that sort of situation, trying to sell a nice house, all of a sudden it's insinuated that she has to perform a sexual act to sell the house. What if she really needs the money for her family and she goes along with it? You've ruined her life. There's no coming back from that trauma. She's done something like that. She's not going to go on then to be a good wife. It's serious stuff, bro. Really. Astaghfirullah.
Degenerate rich people. And she actually sent me a photo of him from behind. I didn't see his face or anything. She's like, this is the guy. She didn't take a photo of him, but there was a photo and then he was in it. I said, what does this guy look like? And he has no taste. Everything was Gucci. Really bad. Yeah,
no, the whole thing's unfortunate, bro. But I'd like to think that that's the minority of cases, surely. Surely most men have more morals than to be pushing women towards doing something they want to do with their bodies, which will create lifelong trauma, surely.
You mentioned before you're a dominant man, which is natural. Women want a dominant man, and they want to be submissive. That's how beautiful the feminine and the masculine marry each other. But there are some men that are very feminine, right? And they look for a dominant man. And I've met a lot of dominant women here because they just, you know, they're go-getters, they're business women, they go out and everything, but they can't turn on and off their masculinity after work. They have to go into an environment where the man is so dominating, so masculine, that they are forced to go into their feminine. What about those guys? What about those women that don't want to get out of their dominant and they want to stay in their masculine? And then there's men for them as well that want to be the feminine.
I mean, let the man, all power to them. But I would ask, does that lead to fulfillment? If you have the woman doing what traditionally men have done in terms of leading a relationship and being the dominant one, and you have men going against the testosterone running through their blood and being submissive, does that really lead to an intense connection in the bedroom? If it does, all right, great. But I don't see how that would work. For me, there's a polarity that exists that has been written by God. Man is masculine leader, taking the stress, taking the pressure. Woman is feminine carer, bringing in that love, that care, that feminine energy. Bro, I love you. You're one of my brothers. You can't give me healing feminine energy if I'm exhausted. And if you did, I'd punch you. Like, it's, with respect. The input that a good woman can give to her man is so valuable. And that's why you see throughout history, men have thrown away kingdoms just to get some of that feminine energy. It's not just about the sexual piece. That healing, caring, support from a good woman is a magical gift from God. It's a very important thing. So what I'd say to that is, if a woman really feels she's fulfilled from being masculine, all right, great, you are the exception. But the exception doesn't negate the rule. The vast majority of humans on this planet, if they're men, will feel more fulfilled if they are playing a masculine role in the relationship, and if they're women, will feel more fulfilled if they're playing a feminine role in the relationship. And you can see it play out over time. How many masculine corporate women have fulfilling long-term relationships that they say, you know what, we have great passion, great connection, we're an incredible team. To me, it seems unnatural. That's just what I've seen in my lived experience.
It's in our DNA. Right, it's in our genetics.
It's in our blood, man.
Yeah.
Testosterone gives you the urge to do what? To fornicate and to fight, to conquer. When we see women's makeup, to simplify things, there's oxytocin and estrogen. Settling, nesting, care, aesthetics, building families, maternal urges. We have different chemicals in our blood. It's that clear and everyday. Forget all the cultural conditioning, forget the different ways we're programmed growing up. Our actual biological makeup is very clear. That's why I think the West is in such a confused place. They're trying to just ignore biology.
Do you think your daughter's very feminine because she's got such a masculine dad, and there's a lot of dads that aren't masculine, and then their daughters are forced to be more masculine than their dads?
I think my daughter is very feminine because it's safe for her to do so, because she feels protected by her dad. But also, I've also, over time, trained her to be very assertive. She's very assertive. Even as an early little, when she was 2 or 3, if anyone wanted to hug her, even a family member, oh, good to see you. If she didn't want to hug them, no, she's not. She said no one's hugging her. Yeah. From the earliest of age, she knew I can say no to anybody, especially when it comes to something like someone coming into my space. Yeah. So yes, she's very feminine, she's very caring, beautiful, alhamdulillah, what a blessing to have such a wonderful daughter. But she is also very assertive and very clear that my body, my space, no one comes into that. Yeah. So I think you can raise daughters to be both, to be very feminine and very, one day, inshallah, very caring and giving and submissive to a husband who deserves it. And you better believe I'll be doing that interview on the gun range. Hey mate, go change your targets. No, I'm serious. He's going to be absolutely terrified. Yeah. But that's what my duty is as a father. Yeah. But when she finds a husband who is worthy, inshallah, she'll be able to be very feminine, very submissive. And at the end of the day, being submissive is very vulnerable. It takes real courage for a woman to submit fully to a man's leadership. You have to believe in him fully. You have to trust him fully. In the same way, it takes work for a man to submit to God, to put his ego aside. Anyone who thinks submissiveness is somehow weakness, it takes real courage and real, I'd say, strength to be a submissive woman and fully submit to a man and say, you know what, he's the leader of my family unit. I'm going to care and support him throughout life. what he says goes. That, to me, is the real strong woman right there.
My heart goes out to her. She's going to find it tough to find a guy because she's going to always compare him to you.
That's tricky. Bro, I think she first flew first class when she was like 7. It's going to be tricky, bro.
That's going to be hard.
I'm trying to keep things grounded.
Yeah.
The one thing I make clear with her is we're able to live the way we live because Dad puts in so much work. That's why sometimes Dad has to travel and, you know, Dad's working late and these sorts of things. So she understands, at least, if she wants the benefits that come with a hardworking man, she needs to accept that there's some sacrifices you need to make as a wife to a hardworking man. He's not going to be around all the time. He's going to be busy with other things.
Yeah. But I mean, even financially aside, even like the masculine figure, you know, there wouldn't be many, well, it's not that there wouldn't be many, but she wouldn't have a wide range to choose from that will meet your level.
Yeah, I do worry for both my son and my daughter. How are they going to find good relationship partners in the future? Because Western culture is just muddying the waters. Feminism makes women entitled and angry at men. The anti-masculinity drive makes a man think that, being masculine is a bad thing. It's such a mess in terms of the gender roles. It's going to be very hard for my son and my daughter to find good husbands and wives in future. However, the one thing that can save that is faith. The one thing, especially with Islam, that cements the roles and the responsibilities of the husband and the wife. Yes, they are different. Yes, we are different as man and woman. That's not a bad thing to say within Islam. So I think the only way my kids are going to find good relationship partners in future is if they live per faith and they find partners who live per faith. Otherwise, anything else, Western culture is going to turn everyone into kind of a man, kind of a woman, same blob, no polarity, no complementarity, competition, resentment, weirdness.
Why is there so much more? I mean, I don't have any issue with gay people. I know you don't as well. But why is there so much more gay people now? Is it because we've created an environment
programming, bro. It's all the programming. Man, I watched Sweden's Got Talent years ago, back when I used to be involved with a Swedish woman for many years. It was hard to see who were the boys and who were the girls. It was an absolute mess.
Really?
And then I started looking into it. There's a documentary called Raised Without Gender by Vice, where they talk about the fact that Sweden has gender-neutral preschools, where the name tags are the rainbow flag, all these sorts of things. It's pretty satanic, bro. It's pretty evil.
Wow.
And if you look into it more and more, you see that the rise of, for example, those who identify as trans has gone exponentially higher over the last few years, which I don't think you can say it's correlation. I think it's causation. Ties directly into the fact that we see it pushed in every Netflix series. There needs to be someone who is alphabet something.
Yeah.
We see it in rappers. We see it everywhere. It's being pushed on the kids. So are we surprised that it's happening? It's like, I'm sorry. If you don't have many friends, or you're not popular, or you don't have much of a personality, then identifying as a something doesn't replace that. Go and get a personality. It's just another way to have become cool. Back in, like, maybe you were an emo or you're a skater.
Yeah.
Now you're an LGTV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so damaging for kids. And there are, even in Sweden, there are scientists and psychologists coming out saying this is damaging for children. Especially, things like puberty blockers, things like irreversible surgery. Gender dysphoria is a mental condition. Since when do you treat mental conditions with irreversible surgery? It's such nonsense. Thank God for Trump coming in and saying those who've been damaged by this can sue the doctors, because that's just justice, that's just logic.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, brother.
Sure.
I've realized more and more from interacting with ultra successful people, the routines are key. The morning routines are vital. And I know it's talked about a lot online, this and that, but what is your ultimate morning routine? What does your best first half of your day look like?
So I'm going to tell you what my routine was a month ago, because the last month I went to Australia and then I came back, I got sick and then I got busy. There's not an excuse, but my life has just been a mess for the past month.
Okay.
I've been living a bachelor lifestyle.
Perhaps you've been wasting energy in areers that don't have much of an ROI.
A lot. Let me show you last night.
Please, brother, please.
Morning routine is wake up. First of all, Australia is 4 hours ahead, so I wake up and I've got lots of emails. So I have a coffee, I sit at my laptop, 45 minutes to an hour, just smash out the emails. Then I hit the gym. And then after gym, I have lunch,
Okay.
the first half, and then obviously I try to start fitting in meetings and podcasts from 12 o'clock onwards. So then I've smashed out my gym, smashed out my emails and stuff like that, and then I get into it. That's probably the first half in a normal world. But then again, Dubai is such a place where it just throws you off your routine. I mean, I just came out of a 3-day conference that I was invited to. They said, please, we'd like you to come and be there. And like, soon as that finished, I feel like I was almost held hostage for 3 days, because it was from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day.
Oh, I don't commit to those sorts of things. No way. No way. I don't commit to anything until it's afternoon, because my morning routine is that sacred to me now.
Really?
I'm all about it, bro.
What did you do this morning?
So prayer is a key thing.
What time did you wake up?
Bro, it depends. It's I try to hit Fajr, which is early.
Yeah.
And I try not to go back to bed, but that throws me out. So the ultimate daily routine for me is prayer followed by some form of cardio. That's either walking on a heavy incline for a long time, or hitting the stair machine. Stair machine is golden, bro.
Golden. How many hours? Sorry, not how many hours. How many minutes do you do on there?
Ideally 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yeah. And the thing is, okay, maybe you don't have the money for a stair machine. If you're in an apartment, you got a stair machine right there. The amount of time I've spent running up and down emergency exit stairwells is golden for exercise. It's perfect for that drive chain of the body. And it's absolutely perfect.
What speed do you put it on? 8? 7?
On the stair machine?
On the stair machine.
7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
I like it.
I try to get to an hour.
That's heavy, man. That's amazing. Fantastic. So if you then do a good cardio smash, I have a rule I try and follow. Don't check your phone till you're on the cardio machine.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that, one, you don't notice you're doing the cardio as much, and two, you're getting work done instead of just sitting in bed.
Yeah.
Or sitting.
100%.
Sitting is the enemy. It's something I learned from my back injuries. So prayer followed by intense cardio, and then I'm all about that cold plunge, man. Really.
You're loving that cold plunge.
Only 2 to 3 minutes, not much. Because after that, you don't really get that buzz anyway.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of research. Longer than that can interrupt muscle recovery and so on. But you do that regularly, and then get some sun. If I follow that daily routine, prayer followed by intense cardio, followed by cold plunge, followed by sun, bro, I'm high. I'm just that, and what a high frequency to then approach your day. And then just, funnily enough, when I do that stuff in the morning, which I don't like cardio, bro, I definitely don't like cold, but when I do that stuff in the morning, somehow my days just tend to work out. Yeah. You're setting that high frequency with which to attack all the challenges of the day. I am so strict on that morning routine. I will never ever agree to meet someone in the morning unless it's absolutely vital.
Yeah. What's the degree of the water? Like, what degree do you have it on?
I've noticed 7 is the real kicking point now.
7?
I used to think 9, but now I take it to 7.
Oof.
Terrible. And you leave it running, so it's pushing the cold water onto you.
Oof.
Horrible, bro.
Oof. It's like a cold shower.
It's fantastic.
You've also got a sauna. What, you stopped using it?
I use the jacuzzi instead, bro. That's where I get my warmth from.
So you leave the sauna, it doesn't get used?
No, it doesn't really get used.
Try it before bed.
Before bed sauna?
Before bed, yeah.
I'm doing light cardio before bed now. Because I'm so brr all day, I'll just walk for even 20 minutes and then shower into bed. I sleep much better.
Do you?
Yeah, phone away, of course. Getting off the phone is key, obviously. That sleep hygiene's real, man. Have you tried sleeping, 5 minutes before you go to bed watching your phone, or an hour being off the phone, all screens for an hour? The quality of sleep is so different.
Really?
It's nighttime. Sorry, let's do that again, because that's an important point.
Sure.
I think part of the reason why everyone's so stressed and tired nowadays is the simple fact that if you are on your phone or any screen before bed, you don't sleep properly.
Yeah.
It's obvious stuff, but no one's paying attention to it. Try it, bro. Try putting your phone away, lowering the lights, not watching any screens for an hour before bed. You'll have the deepest sleep you've had in years. You'll be like, oh, this is what I've been missing out on. It's a completely different thing. Get away from the screens at night. Because what are you doing? You're telling yourself it's daytime. Everyone knows this, but no one actions it. Everyone knows if I look at my phone before sleep, my mind will whir, I'll have dreams about work, all these sorts of things. But everyone still does it. Sleep hygiene is a must, bro. Really.
Do you have panic attacks?
No, I can't say I've ever done that.
You've never had a panic attack?
I don't think so, bro. No, I mean, look, I've felt in gunfights and in situations where, if I make mistakes, I'll die. I've definitely felt fear rising. But if anything, that sharpens you. That's a good thing. You know what I mean? I quite like that. I mean, I used to like that state.
So you're never in bed and you still hear gunshots and you've got like panic attacks or anything from everything?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I'm very fortunate in that my career didn't damage me the way it's damaged a lot of mates.
People have panic attacks from you, from you coming around. They're like,
I don't know about that, bro.
during the insertion. Is that what you call it? Insertion?
Yeah. I mean, look, I didn't do any of the stuff that really breaks your brain.
Okay.
Which I'm very grateful
All right,
for.
that's good. Money. Let's talk about money.
Okay.
I've come to you with a few money plays,
Mm-hmm.
and every time you said, "Look, bro, I'm good. I'm not really into money anymore. I mean, alhamdulillah, I've got everything that I've got."
Sounds like something I'd say.
And thank God for everything. And I'm more chasing fulfillment now,
Yeah.
rather than money.
100%.
You're not really on that get money at all. You're
If anything, I'm looking to unload cars and watches, and I get so much more satisfaction, for example, buying an apartment in cash and giving it to a family member, than I do from any car you could give me. I get so much more satisfaction from buying a watch for a close friend or a family than I do getting one for myself.
Yeah.
I think there are phases in a man's development. First, you want that cash, you want that stuff, you want the possessions. Then you want the status. You want the black belt in BJJ, you want to climb a mountain, you want social media following, whatever. But at the sort of final stage, what matters most is seeing your people win, and you step back from trying to conquer everything, and you just want your people to win. Now, I still have clear goals. I have fitness goals, I have faith goals, I have language learning goals, but I don't really have monetary goals anymore. Simply because beyond a certain point, what's the difference between, say, 20M and 50M? Does it change your life? Not really. So why are you still questing for it? I think sometimes people could do well to just stop and think, hang on, I can put all my time and focus into getting more of this money wealth, or I can use that time and focus and build health wealth, build connections wealth, build faith wealth, build discipline, routine wealth, as opposed to just the money goal. So I say no to opportunities all the time, and I say to people, I'm not going to put in any time to a money play. I'm much more interested in having a positive impact on those around me. Simple as that.
You know how metaphorically they say chase the bag, meaning chase the money and stuff like that. You're at a stage where I feel like the bag chases you.
Yeah, that's real.
And you're kind of like, nah, I'm okay. And it's kind of like running after you. Hey, I've got this money for you. Let's do this. And you're like, I'm okay.
I view it as sort of a value type thing. When you have a certain amount of value, the world, everyone wants a piece of that value. Whether it's advice, or they want your capital, or they want you to be a board, contributing a certain project. And I try to contribute as much as I can, but I'm not doing it if it's just a money play. If this is something that can have a positive impact, something that I can be proud of being involved in, okay, great. But if it's just money, more money doesn't make a difference. You're there, bro. Would an extra 4, 5, 10M to your net worth change anything about how you live your life?
How I live now.
That's my point. So why is that the main focus of everyone's time? If after a certain point, yes, before you get to the certain point, sure, I get that. Man, money was all I cared about for so long.
Correct.
That first million took so long. It took me until my 30s. I used to track my net worth. Some months it would go down. I'd be devastated. So much work. But once you got that first M, and if you use it properly, bruv, it's a game on easy mode, right?
Correct.
Especially if you've got good people around you, you've got good intent. The money just comes from everywhere. But yeah, I really do view money as one of the cheapest forms of wealth. I'm chasing wealth in other areas.
That's great what he said there. Once you got your first M, if you're smart about it, life's on easy mode. Really is. Like, I had to think about that when you said 4 or 5 M's. My lifestyle wouldn't change, but I'd have more fulfillment because I would think how much more I could serve my parents or serve my family.
Okay, all right, interesting. Yeah, I hear that. Now, that's the thing. Anytime I'm looking to unlock capital for something, it is to be able to buy something or do something for those I love.
Yeah.
I don't, and I've got enough toys. I've done enough jets and yachts and first class this and that.
Yeah.
Bro, 10 years ago, I realized I was spoiled. When I sat down in an Emirates plane, because back then I'd spend more hours on Emirates plane in each month than I would in my own office. Constant movement for so long. Sat down in the plane and said, oh look, I'm hungry. Can I have this meal and can I have this one as well? Of course, Mr. Sullivan, you can have whatever you want. You're sitting in first class. I was like, oh, I got upgraded from business. I didn't realize.
No.
Bro, I was that used to flying and that used to business and first. I failed to mentally recognize that I got a free upgrade into first. That was just 10 years ago.
Wow.
It mattered that little to me back then.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm beyond the, bro, you put me on the nicest jet, the nicest hotel room, the nicest first class suite, doesn't hit me in any way.
Yeah.
So what does that say to you? It says that there are more meaningful things to pursue than the flashy, than the status.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm pursuing right now.
No, you're 100% right. I had a phone call with my business partner the other day. He said, yeah, if we do this, we unlock, we can double out this, with dividends will be this. And I thought to myself, oh, awesome. Okay, so how much money do we need to do this and get this done? And then we can pull out this much more money. And the money that we were going to take extra, I was thinking, what could I do for my mum and dad?
Awesome.
I don't think of myself, I could buy this, I could buy this. It's quickly about serving rather than consuming.
Bro, seeing your people win, making your people win, that's the biggest flex.
Yeah.
That's the biggest status.
Yeah.
Really, that's the game. Really it is.
I did a podcast with a guy that used to be worth 200 million. Now he's lost it. He said to me, Radin, I don't give a fuck about the money. The money never made me happy. What made me happy was helping people. Now I can't help anyone. I used to go and find a family that couldn't afford a grave when their mum died, and I would buy the grave. That makes me happy. But I can't help anyone anymore. I don't give a fuck about the money.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I hear that, brother. I hear that. And I guarantee when he lost his money, it's because he had the wrong people around him. Every time. When you've got a bit of cash, everyone wants to jump on you. And just, hey, I've got this investment, I've got this opportunity, hey, I want to give you this gift. They're all looking to take a bit of your value, bro.
Yeah.
If you have the right people around you with that sort of wealth, you can't fail.
Yeah.
And that's why I preach brotherhood so much.
Yeah.
You got strong brothers around you, guys who'll give you direct feedback. Hey man, that lady who you're getting all friendly with, yeah, she's not actually your friend.
Yeah.
People who check you if you're slipping.
Yeah.
That is the best key to wealth preservation.
Yeah.
It's not how it's not the split you have between index funds and bonds. It's having those right brothers around you who give you that direct feedback. Bruv, you're slipping, you need a reframe on this. If you're man enough to take the feedback, of course.
Winners love criticism.
Yeah, I'll pay that. And they're grateful when someone has the courage to give them that direct feedback.
Yes, correct. Winners love criticism.
Well said. So on that point,
You piece of look, I podcast, so I meet a lot of people, right? But you're very rare. You're very unique. You speak many languages. You're very smart. You know how to kill a person in 3 seconds. But on top of that, you're logical and you can do this. And business-wise, you kill it. Fitness-wise, you kill it. Family-wise, you kill it. Kids-wise, you kill it. Reading people, the intuition that you have, all these things that you've been trained, right? On paper, somebody like that would have a fucking massive ego. But you don't have an ego.
Yeah, I think it's because I came from absolutely nothing. But also I think, how does an ego serve you? I mean, look, I have very clear boundaries. If someone acts in a way that I'm not happy with, I'll tell them directly, even if I just met them. So I'm very, I'm prepared to be rude, and if anything, I kind of enjoy it sometimes. So I think, yes, have boundaries.
But even then, you do it deliberately and also strategically.
Yeah, ideally, it's productive. It's not just beefing for the sake of beefing.
Yeah.
So I think an ego doesn't really help you, because a lot of the time, I've seen a lot of people, especially, the ultra high net worth of the world, they get to the point where the ego is like, oh, I can't be touched, and it messes with their risk perception. They make mistakes, they get in trouble.
Yeah.
So I think an ego doesn't actually serve you. Yes, know your worth. Yes, have clear boundaries. 100% there. Otherwise you get walked over. Yeah. But I don't see the value add of walking around with a big ego. I just don't see the benefit of it. And also, a lot of people, when they get to certain levels, they get what I call the diva factor. They become almost a bit feminine because they have a tantrum if there's something wrong with the hotel room, or if the wrong sort of person sat next to them at a dinner table. How did you let that happen? I could never be like that, because I detest that. I don't like most celebrities, bro. I don't like most big players in the world who've given into that diva complex ego. I'm sorry, and that's why I got so much love for the Tate brothers. Man, look what they have produced. Well, they came from nothing. They've had a global impact, a positive impact on, it will be tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people now. They're still polite to everyone. In 5-6 years of rolling with both Andrew and Tristan, I never once saw them be rude to a single waiter or someone serving on a jet. Or that they are good, respectful men, despite their accomplishments. That's what I aspire to be. That's what I view as value. Not walking around with some ego because I've decided that I'm special. I mean, sorry, what? That's some feminine frame nonsense, bro.
You mentioned before, be a creator, don't be a consumer. Are you not like consuming Instagram? Like, are you not on there? Why is that? Why are you not? What should I say? Are you not, or should I say why are you not? Why are you not consuming Instagram?
I find Instagram to be incredibly boring. Really, it's people are flexing with the wrong stuff. I'll tell you what I mean. All right, you bought a watch, great. Would you even know how to defend yourself if someone came to steal it? Okay, you're on a jet, great. Who was there with you? Capable brothers who respect you, or just people are just trying to hang off you? Oh, you went on some luxury experience. Anyone can go and sit in a nice hotel. What adventures have you been on with the brothers? What have you done that's meaningful? All right, you bought a nice car. Do you even know how to drive it? People should be flexing with capability, not with things that money can buy. A lot of the time, the people who are showing off stuff they bought, it's crypto money they didn't earn, it's money they got from scamming, it's daddy's money. I don't care what you can do with your money. I care about your capabilities, your moral qualities as a man. Show me some of that. Instagram's boring, bro.
Okay, so, but don't you want to like kind of keep up and see what's going on in terms of business or trends or whatever? Like, you don't want to...
I have a team for that, bro.
You have a team for that. You don't do that yourself. No.
They come up with the ideas of videos. I come up with like the little drifting idea, the late for work. It's 10 minutes work. It's just silly.
Yeah.
But to put real conscious effort into social media, I've got more important things to focus on. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll try and put a positive message out there, but bruv, I'm not chasing likes like it matters. Like I'm having fun. You know, I'm putting out messaging that I know if even one person can take that on and think, you know what, I'm going to change my life in a more positive way. That's my ROI, bro. That's my payback for that.
You've been in Dubai for 15 years, right?
Middle East, in and out of Dubai, yeah.
Middle East, GCC area in for the last 15 years.
Oh, and Iraq and Iran and Syria, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Oh, they're not Gulf countries, are they?
No.
It's everything below the Gulf.
Yeah, arguably. I mean, there's GCC countries are
like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so life's obviously changed a lot since the 15 years you've been in this area. What do you think the next 5 years is going to look? Because 5 years ago, your life was much different to what it is today.
Sure.
So what's the next 5 going to look like?
I've gone through absolutely exponential growth because, again, once you got that first M, which I hit about, let's say, 8 years ago, that's when things can really get interesting. Getting that first M takes so long, but once you've got it, and if you've got the right people around you and you take measured risks, that's when things get really interesting. So that abundance in terms of financial means has happened. I'm looking for abundance in other areas now. I don't think I'll be a lot wealthier in 5 years. I'm not pushing for that. Alhamdulillah, I'm comfortable and I'm happy with that. I would like wealth in other areas. I'd like more freedom wealth. If I want to not look at my phone for a week, then I want to be able to not look at my phone for a week. If I want to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to Patagonia to ride a motorbike for a month, then I want to be able to do that. True freedom wealth is what I'm pursuing now. A lot of that comes from faith as well. As I get more and more knowledgeable about Islam, I'm less drawn to what's known as dunya, the physical world. I care less. It hits me less when there's a new watch or a new Ferrari. Like, it just doesn't excite me the way it used to. So I think I'll have more freedom wealth, less stuff. I think my net worth will be around the same, inshallah. My people will be much more looked after. Looking after your people, that's the biggest flex. Really, that's the number one flex.
And fulfillment.
I think on a day-to-day basis, I'll be living my custom-made reality, brother. Interacting with high-frequency brothers, doing meaningful work, putting input into the various projects I'm involved, giving back as much as I can. And just being grateful every day, man. Every time I put my head on the ground, on the floor in the mosque, the level of gratitude I get is euphoric, bro. I feel emotions from it. So that's what I'm aiming for. It's certainly not trying to stack more Satoshis or anything.
Look, it's clear. I mean, I know you pretty well. It's clear that you're not an Instagram guy. You don't give a fuck about that stuff. You don't care about the flexing and stuff like that. But obviously, these things come with it when you have these things. People want to see who the guy is who has the 3 Ferraris. How many Ferraris you got now? Probably 5.
Not that many.
So people want to see that, but I feel like you've kind of been thrown into that, even though you didn't want to. I mean, we just went somewhere for you to drop off a Rolex that you wanted to get rid of, right?
I'm unloading things. I need less stuff in my life. I was around Tate for years. I had no interest in followers or clout. They said, you want to do podcasts? No, man, I'm in the shadows. I preferred it that way. Yeah. So I'm not seeking to be huge on Instagram, but I do have a platform. A lot of it's thanks to Tate's, which obviously I'm grateful for. With that platform becomes a bit of a responsibility. If I can have a positive impact on a lot of people's lives just through doing a 3-minute video, then the onus is on me to do that, right? So that's my thinking there. I'll just keep putting out that positive message. If it works, great. If it doesn't, great. It's just fun at this point.
So I feel like you've reached that level where you feel like these things, because at one point you feel like these things own you instead of you owning it. You've probably got I don't know, let's not throw a number in there, but you got supercars, right, sitting there collecting dust that you probably don't get to drive that much.
Yeah, bro, honestly, man, I think it's 12 vehicles now. Keeping them registered becomes a bit of an admin hassle.
Yeah.
So I try and delegate what I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff does hold you down. I think it's, when you're a young man coming up, yes, work endlessly, get yourself that Rolex. The first Rolex I got was amazing. I still got that one, gonna give it to my son one day once he's earned it.
Nice.
Get yourself your first, nice BMW, then upgrade one day, maybe get a Ferrari. Push for these things, get your luxury experiences in, experience the best of the world, but realize at a certain point those things will mean nothing and they'll do nothing for you. That is not the end state. Get your money right, sure, so you can look after your people, but understand at a certain point you will lose interest in those things unless you're some strange upstairs type of guy.
Yeah.
Really, the material doesn't lead to real fulfillment. It can be a useful tool for relationship building, for building brands, whatever, but you will ideally get over the watches, you'll get over the cars, you'll get over the luxury experiences, and you move on to something more meaningful. That's a good arc for a man to go through in his life.
There's some people that are stuck in that. I'm not sure if you've met them, but they're just stuck in that
100%.
they constantly having to prove themselves to other people or themselves. I've got this, I've got that. I can't stand them.
I think as a rule of thumb, a good policy to have is, are you wearing that watch because you like it, or are you wearing that watch because you want other people to like it? Are you driving that car because you like it and it's a great experience, or you're driving it because you want other people to like you because you're in it? If you look at the intent behind anything in terms of luxury experiences or purchasing luxury items, the intent is what matters. I've got a bunch of cars, yes, but I love driving them, bro. I love it. And you see the way I drive. Like, I make noise,
Yeah.
I'm not buying it just so that people like me. I think that's a good way to assess your intent with these things.
You're trying to crash them.
Actually did crash multiple times yesterday, yeah. Thankfully it's a drift car that's sort of designed for that.
Yeah. By the way, your son, he was drifting and he had a bit of an accident and he wrote a letter to you.
He did. Yep.
To apologize.
Yep, 100%.
And I read that letter.
Oh, really?
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this kid, he wrote, I will do better, I will be better. Like, this is a 9-year-old kid.
Yeah, I think it was 10 at the time or something. Yeah, I'm a big believer in empowering kids to be their own moral compass.
Yeah.
If you mess up, you need to acknowledge why, and the best way to do it, especially with a kid who's a bit hyperactive, sit down, write a letter about why you think that happened, what your lesson is, and what agreement you're going to make with yourself going forward. You're going to do better, this, that, the other. And it's really effective. He has a board at home where he has, the ADHD thing, he needs routine, he needs discipline, needs structure, otherwise it's all up in the air. So we have each day, what sort of training he's doing, when his chess lessons are, when his boxing lessons are, when he is going to wake up. He wakes up early a few times a week to do cardio and to do the prehab piece. And then next to that, he says the things he's working on. I'm going to think before I act more. I'm going to slow down and be more selective with my word choice. He has all the things he's working on up in the right corner, and he checks that each morning as well. That's his learning journey. Instead of me trying to push values on him, he writes that up. I said, go and spend half an hour, write what you want to change about your behavior up on your board. It's all from him, literally nothing from me. Because it's his responsibility, even if he just turned 12 now, it's his responsibility to be his own moral compass and to go through his own journey into becoming his version of the best man he can be, not what dad tries to push on him. You know what I mean?
When we were kids, when I was a kid, my parents wanted me to be this. I want my son to be a doctor, or I want my son to be a lawyer, or whatever, right? What do you want Amadeus to be?
Oh, not what his dad was.
What do you want him to be?
Honestly,
if you could choose anything, you're UFC fighter, what do you want him to be?
Ideally, he would build businesses that add value to humanity, and he would go through struggle on his own terms, not just by being a slave in a military or intelligence agency machine like I was. He would express that warrior urge on his own terms, not as a pawn for a government. And he would build things, build businesses, build products and services that add value to people's lives. That would be my goal if I was to choose. But having said that, it's his life, man. It's up to him. If he asked me what I want him to do when he grows up, I wouldn't say anything. It's your life, son. I want you to be fulfilled. You need to define what your fulfillment is. It's not up to me to push it on you.
When are the Tates going to get released? How long is this going for?
Yeah, man, big one. So they're okay, by the way. Everyone's always asking me how the Tates are. They are absolutely fine. They are actually built for this.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Tristan just doesn't care. Tristan's going to live his life wherever he is. He
Yeah.
really doesn't care. And Andrew likes combat. He likes challenge.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? Buy more cars? He's won cars. You know,
Yeah.
get more famous. He's won that as well. This challenge, which really is about, in my mind, good versus, you know, the forces that try and bring good down. That's a big part of his life. And he's the sort of guy who understands that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test us. Just because you believe doesn't mean you won't be tested. You know what I mean? So he views it as a test from above, and he's embraced it. So they're fine. Don't worry about the Tate brothers. They are absolutely fine. If anything, they are embracing this challenge as an important part of their lives.
Yeah.
And if anything, I think they're grateful for it, bro. Really. They are that grounded. They walk the walk, these lads. I've seen it. I've said many times, I was there when he lost bank accounts, Instagram, YouTube, payment processes, everything was just decimated. Didn't care. Zero emotional response, just what's next? All right, how are we responding?
Yeah.
The amount of emotional control under pressure that Andrew has, I've never seen anything like it. I've been around CEOs, I've been around...
They impress you?
Bro, I was blown away. Blown away. Can you imagine anyone else who makes a living from internet notoriety, social media, so on, losing all of their infrastructure, everything? They'd be broken, they'd be decimated. And all these false allegations coming out, just trying to ruin his name, doesn't care. His frame control is that strong.
Wow.
Incredibly impressive. Just a case study in genuine mental resilience and frame control at a level I've never seen before.
And not trained?
No,
natural?
No, his dad though. His dad, bruv. His dad was something special. That's where his training came from. Really. If you want to understand Andrew and Tristan Tate, read up on their father. That guy was different. Not only was he ultra high intelligence and you know, obviously good at chess, which makes you see the world in a certain way, he was masculine and like alpha as it comes, actual alpha. Unlike these steroid using poser internet alphas, he was actually patriarch as it comes. And so that's where they got their training from, so to speak. And he was intelligence services as well, so he knew people pretty well from that line of work. I've heard you can learn a thing or two about people from the intelligence game.
Interesting.
But as to when they'll be released, brother, who knows? I mean, what has it been, 2 years now?
It's been a while.
Maybe more, and there's still no trial? Bruv.
Come on.
It's communism.
Yeah.
In Australia, you can hold someone for 24 hours, 48 hours without charge? 6 months in Romania, bro. And then they can just extend it. It's absolute madness. And it's become a bit of a geopolitical thing too. When did you last see Romania in the news? What, Ceausescu getting kicked out? That was some time ago. They've been in the headlines. The country has been in the headlines because of this. So there's so much sort of political weight and importance of the country's reputation on this that I almost feel like no one really wants to touch it too decisively. Everyone's like, well, we could go this way or that way and it's going to be tricky. So they're just dragging it out. So look, I pray for them every day. I've got a lot of love and a lot of respect for the brothers. They've impacted so many millions of lives in such a positive way. I believe, I know that good will win in the end. You know, reality wins in the end, despite all the haters that are out there. As to how long it takes, I'm not sure, man. How long does communism take to go through communist bureaucracy? Would be my answer. I mean, it's quite ridiculous. But thankfully, the brothers are strong physically, mentally. You know, they're still looking after their people, which is quite amazing when you look at all the attempts to shut them down. I think they can't even use Uber. They even got kicked off the Uber app, but they're still able to provide for their people in a very, very, abundant fashion. Incredible case study in overcoming real adversity and maintaining that every day I'm gonna do work, I'm gonna be productive, I'm gonna get it done regardless of how I might feel.
Do you think now that Trump's in power, he will meddle and try to get them out?
Oh, I hope so, bro. Wow, I hope so. Really, I do. I think he's probably got a lot of, like, Trump's whole thing is focusing on his country, right?
Yeah.
So I think that'll be the focus. But I'd like to think at some point, as the world gets less woke and less nonsense, in terms of, the overarching political views and narratives that are running the planet, that has to work in the favor of the Tates, who speak for masculinity, who speak for traditional values. Instead of that being demonized, under Trump, that is going to be encouraged and embraced, which means the positive messages from Tate will also be embraced. So I definitely think it's a good thing.
Do they have a relationship with him? Do they have like a connection, like a point of contact with Trump?
Look, I don't want to betray anyone's faith, but I do know that Trump Jr. and Tate communicated back and forth on Instagram back in the day. Even back then, I saw their exchanges on Instagram, in the comments. So, so I believe there is a relationship of some sort there.
Yeah.
It was actually, Andrew bought a certain pistol called the Alien pistol, and Trump Jr. wrote, the alien, good purchase, and then they were chatting back and forth. So it's they're definitely on each other's radar.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, look, if Trump can get them out, then Trump's going to be a hero.
Well, yeah, definitely. That would be.
You got the most Googled man, the most famous man, and you single-handedly were able to get him out of something that.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Inshallah. Man, I've prayed literally hundreds of times for the brothers. Inshallah, let's see.
And I don't even think it'll take much work.
Oh man,
it'll be a phone call.
Do this or certain funding dries up.
Exactly.
That's how you keep the world hostage.
Yeah. I saw on social media that you built a mosque in Indonesia. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from?
There's a real story there. So a brother reached out to me on Instagram, and he produced incredible custom carbon shields with supercars or with your logos, and he did one for me, which was incredible. And then, unfortunately, he passed away. It was the last piece he ever made. And through that, we got to know his family, his business partners, and we said, we have to contribute. And Tate knew the guy as well, that Tate was planning to buy from the guy. So we said, hey, look, I understand you guys want to build a mosque, then we'd love to do another one. And so Tate and I went halves in the mosque. It's the least we can do for such a high frequency, just a good human, man. He's a good guy, amazing guy. I often pray for his family, hope they're doing well. But that ability to give back in a meaningful way like that, it's a real blessing. So, yeah, may he rest in peace. Amazing guy, and the mosque was just a small gesture of respect to who he was as a man, and respect to the family as well.
I remember that actually. When he passed away, I was like, didn't he just give something to Joule the other day?
Yeah, exactly.
It was like a week after.
And for me, it's a reminder, man. Like, you can't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
And it's not just about us. Yeah, we may be gone tomorrow. The people you love may be gone tomorrow as well. And I think the young nowadays, they lack that sense of urgency. Oh, I'll take my time. I'll do this next week. There might not be a next week. I mean, there's skulls in my home and in the shop. It's not shirk. I'm not worshipping them. What it is memento mori. Be conscious of your mortality and be grateful for this moment, because there's no guarantee for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And for me, we have that shield in the prime place when you walk in. It's the first thing people see.
Yeah.
And it's and I explain the story all the time. He was a great man, look at all these things that he did. Just like that, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides it's your time, it's your time. So you need to get the most out every day. You need to be on your deen. You need to be in good relationships with those you love, because you might just be gone, or they might just be gone tomorrow. It's terrifying, but also very useful to keep that in mind and live your life accordingly.
When's the last time you cried?
Oh, man, I'm getting more emotional as I get deeper into the faith. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, 100%. I will often, I don't know if I'd call it crying, but when I'm praying, I will get emotional, and if someone was to look in my eyes, maybe it would look like I got some dust in my eyes. I don't want to call it crying. But man, really, what I've noticed is there is a lot of emotion within Islam. There's a lot of talking about the heart, a lot of care for your family, a lot of awareness of if you are, living in a way that's energetically clean, or if you're allowing yourself to be polluted by shaitan whispering or the jinn. I'm getting more sensitive as a man, if I can say that, as an Aussie, as I get more and more living on the deen, so to speak, which is a very interesting thing. Do you know what's super interesting? Islam is a very masculine religion, right? You're meant to be strong. Allah loves the strong believer more than weak believer. You're meant to have a beard. They're very clear roles as the patriarch. But there's a lot of talk of things that you wouldn't really assign to masculinity usually, such as dreams. There's a lot of talk of dreams being important and analyzing dreams, which I'm very surprised to see. I was reading recently about the sword of Allah, Sayf Allah, the greatest warrior of all time. His name is Khalid bin Walid, Allah anhu. He was the hardest man in history, if you read about him. But also he talked about his dreams to a fellow very big figure within Islam called Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Allah anhu. And they discussed the fact that in his dream, he saw himself in a very small room. It was very dark, it was very confined, but then he saw himself in a vast expanse of green fields. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, the small room you're living in that was dark and confined, that was you in your time of non-belief, of kafir. But now that you've accepted Islam, this is the green fields, the fields of knowledge, of abundance that you've stepped into. So you got these two masculine men, one of them the greatest warrior of all time, talk about their dreams, bro. There's so much depth in Islam, and the more I look into it, especially the more I pray, I'm becoming more I don't want to say sensitive as a man, but it's true. I'm becoming more aware of the emotional state of my family members. I'm becoming more aware of my own emotional state. Am I listening to music, hearing that, which might throw me off? I'm aware of the fact that I feel a lot more calm and a lot more clean energetically after praying, especially in the masjid. You become more sensitive. Even though Islam is such a masculine religion, you become a lot more in tune to your surroundings, a lot more, you have more empathy for those you care about. It makes you a more empathetic, caring man. It's really interesting.
There is emotion. As you were saying that, I could see, if I was thinking into that and I was praying, there is emotion in that. The toughest men in the world talking about their dreams. It's like being able to bring back all the toughness and everything else and you know, realign yourself.
And that's why I view the type of, I think the best way to put it is the type of masculinity that you see talked about in Islam, that we should all embody as Muslims, is a very grounded masculinity. Yes, you are strong. Yes, you have the warrior traits, but you're also very empathetic. You're also humbling yourself. You're very caring, very good to your women. The amount of times the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, the best of you are the best to your women. You be good to your women. The misconceptions about Islam are staggering. Yes, it's a strong religion. Yes, it's masculine, but it makes you more sensitive and caring as a father, as a husband, as a member of society. It's quite amazing.
If there's somebody from Australia watching this, and because you know, Islamophobia was ravaged, like was present, what's the word I'm looking for? Was prevalent in Australia, but now that's kind of going away. And I actually said to you're one of the people that is kind of eroding Islamophobia in the West, just because people look up to you over there.
Okay, amazing.
What's the first book they start with? Like, how do they start? 'Cause it's obviously in Arabic.
Tricky one. So look, a lot of people say just pick up the Quran, but the Quran's very deep, and you need to really focus on it. And it's hard. I miss a lot of meaning in the Quran, even in English. There are certain Qurans out there which have context and have things explained. I find that very useful. Having somebody who understands the faith explain it to you is a lot more accessible than reading the Quran and trying to interpret yourself, having not been exposed to Islam previously. So I'd say try and find a Quran that has that context and the explanations behind each verse. But even better, talk to someone. Talk to a Muslim who's on the deen and say, you know, hey man, I've heard X about Islam, is this true? I've heard that, for example, a woman covering up is a bad thing. What a joke that is, man. A woman choosing to protect herself and her honor and her like, if anything, to reduce the amount of weird vibes she gets from men, that's a bad thing. But I have huge respect for women who cover themselves, who choose to cover themselves, but I used to think it was suppression of women until I learned better. I learned better from talking to my fellow Muslim. So I'd say if you have questions about Islam, especially if you're a man who has traditional values, you will see that your values are reflected and codified and written in Islam. I think any logical thinking man who has traditional values and doesn't want to be part of all this modern day soy, LGBT, just perversion and weirdness that is destroying the family unit and therefore destroying society, have a good look at Islam and you'll see that which you most resonate with has been written 1400 years ago. But the most accessible way to understand Islam is to have a chat with a brother who knows the religion well. Or again, find a Quran that has context and explanation next to each verse.
So if somebody's watching this in the Western world, they want to go into Islam, have a mentor, have somebody to guide you.
100%.
I mean, you look at Dan Bilzerian, when he traveled here, he had a guy from America who was
Hassan, much respect to that brother. Yeah.
Hassan was traveling around with him and he was teaching him Islam. He was basically almost translating it to the Western world language.
100%, which is perfect, which is the best way to do it. Best way to do it.
Yeah, because obviously reading the Quran, even in English, is intimidating for a white person.
It's heavy, and nowadays people's brains are fried. You know, TikTok this, Instagram that. You need to really slow down and focus on the Quran. And you know, if you're enthusiastic enough, you'll be able to do that. But initially, to get that initial pull, oh, hang on, there's something here that I need to look into. Talking to someone who understands the faith well is the best way you can do it.
Joule, appreciate you, brother.
Habibi, appreciate you, man.
Guys, I wouldn't have been, the success that I've had in Dubai wouldn't have been the success I would have had if I never met Joule, by the way. A friend of mine introduced me to Joule. Everything you see, the guests, the big names, all comes from this man. I appreciate you.
Habibi.
My experience in Dubai wouldn't have been at all what it is today if I didn't have you. So
it's all Qadr Allah, man. It's all meant to be.
Very generous with his like contacts, anything. He's constantly just giving. I've never given this man anything. He's just constantly giving me. And that's why I remember someone said to me, hey, do you want to come on my podcast? And I was like, I don't want to go on your podcast. And then I see you on his podcast. Oh, who the fuck am I to say no to this guy? And he's saying yes to everybody.
It's funny, I said no to Piers Morgan because I don't like the guy, but I'll say yes to someone with like 500 followers if he has good intent and he's a respectful brother. I don't care how much status you got, I don't know how many likes you've got, I don't care how much money you've got. I'll assess you on how you conduct yourself, who you are as a human, beyond any of that other external metric crap.
You're a great man. I appreciate you.
You're very kind, bro.
Appreciate you, honestly. Thank you.
We just rocked up at the tailor shop. Let's do a fitting, man.
We're going to go to the tailor shop. I got a tux.
Hey, that's exciting, man. I love this job. My job is making my brothers look amazing.
I know. I literally went to a boxing event. I was like, I need a tux. And Ben's like, let's go get one tomorrow. Done.
Fantastic. I love it. Let's go, bro. Let's go.
This has been my brother, Joule. Honestly, this is my brother. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you very much.
Thank
Let's go.
you.